welcome to Roundtable Live for June 10th, 2016. My name is Ben, joined by, oh god, I just muted myself temporarily. I'm joined by Mathis Games, Rock Lee Smile, and Northern Line. Hi guys, welcome.
Hello.
Hey everybody, hello.
It is pre-E3 2016 week. These two over here up on the top going to be actually physically going there. You guys stoked? No.
It's
Yes.
a bucket. Yeah, I mean, I am. I am excited. It's a bucket list thing for me.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, it's on mine too. Ryan, this is your first as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I'm excited, man. It snuck up on me. I don't know. When are you flying, man? You flying Monday morning?
Monday. I'll be in like 2 hours before you, so I'll probably just meet you at the airport.
Oh man, so you're leaving at like 7 a.m. your time or something.
Ooh.
9, because I'm gonna arrive at noon there.
That's
Noonish
nasty.
there. So yeah, I'm out at like 9:30, so I'll be up at like 6:30 because I can't sleep.
What was
before I
your
fly.
what's your earliest plane flight that you've ever had, whether it be for work or otherwise?
Well, it depends, like when you cross the line from
it being
like
late
late
night to an
night
early
to
morning.
early?
Yeah, I gotcha. So
I've had like some 5 a.m. flights, some 6
I
a.m.
feel like when I
flights
went
for sure.
to Sweden or something for Paradox, they had me flying like it was night and it turned into morning kind of thing.
oh,
Yeah.
I remember it being dark and the flight was, dark, and as the sun was coming up, they had their morning lights come on the plane, and it was like a slow thing. I guess that would count as my earliest flight.
I like that, man. That they try to lull you into that sense of, oh yeah, no, this is your body, everything's okay, it's normal, you're adjusting. But-
There's always some shithead who's never been on an airplane before. They like turn the lights off and then they open their window shade and they're like, well, I paid for a window seat. I want to look at clouds the whole time.
That's me.
That's
I
you.
not
love the
okay.
clouds. I can't stop looking at the clouds out the window. It's so
It's
good.
not. There's nothing to be ashamed of, man. I think I could go
There
on a
is.
plane 100 times. I'd still look out there and stare at the clouds, man.
I gotta
It's great.
take pictures the whole time too,
if
which makes
the-
me even
Oh
worse.
yeah. Oh yeah.
If the lights are on in the cabin, window shades can be up. If the lights are down, close the window shades so people can sleep. Otherwise, you got like one little like blinding star inside of the airplane that just fills the whole cabin with light.
Really, it was dawn when I did it, and I was a little bit not sure how much I could crack it before it became
No, the
disruptive.
minute it's like open, it's like boom.
well,
just like
that's
light.
what I found out, and then I felt bad about it and put it back down for another hour.
But by that point, it's too late, and you've already permanently damaged
Yeah,
the
I've
sight of
ruined the
everyone
whole
on the plane.
plane.
Yeah. It's like, look, we're flying through the air in a metal cylinder, and I know there's like that commonly established plane protocol that you're laying on us here, but I still think that we can pardon those who may still be amazed by the theatrics of it all, right? You got to give them that. You got to give them that time, that moment.
Clouds
of
are so
silence.
pretty.
It's scientifically amazing, but just,
Easy.
if it's bright outside and the cabin lights are off to try to give people the chance to sleep, don't open the shade. That's the. You ever have like when you're landing, you'll be in like a 3x3 plane, and everybody will be like looking out the window
Oh,
and then
yeah.
like looking out the other side and then looking out the window.
They're not sure. They need to confirm,
Just-
man.
Just be cool, man. The plane's gonna be fine. Probably, and if it's not like you're gonna look out and be like, "Oh, we're in the Golden Gate Bridge now." Like, it's, move to the right, you know.
I just like the way the light hits the top of the clouds. That's all.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. On today's
busy.
docket, we got all kinds of E3 to talk about, so plenty of stuff there. Blizzard and Facebook are becoming best friends. What that means for you? Could Facebook be trying to steal your identity? Probably. Also, we're going to be talking about Watch Dogs 2 and Titanfall 2, all part of that E3 roundup, I imagine, with the predictions for the major conferences that we'll be laying down on you. As well as Mirror's Edge Catalyst, Dead by Daylight, and if we have time for it, I want to do a little bit of a retrospective on Gone Home, because that was one of the PlayStation Plus free games this month, and Wife Taffy and I had a chance to check it out again. So we never got a chance to talk about that, too. We were talking about this before the show started today. That came out back in 2013. That was one of the big releases of 2013. That got a lot of people talking, so I'm excited. We may, you know what, now I'm thinking about this right here on the spot, but maybe we should go back, maybe re-examine a few of those 2013, 2012 gems at some point here on the show. That might be a little fun.
Splinter Cell Conviction.
Yeah. There we
Oh,
go.
excuse
favorite
me.
indie game.
It's Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Oh,
Blacklist
sorry, I
was
forgot
great.
which one you liked.
Man, what you eating over there?
Nutty Buddy Bar.
What the fuck is a Nutty Buddy?
Buddy, that's what Doug always ate.
Man, they're great. It's chocolate and then like the wafer cookies with peanut butter in between each one.
I've heard the Nutter Butter. I've been told that
Maybe it's Nutter Butter. Maybe that's what I call it, Nutty Buddy.
I've been told I'm anti-American for not liking Nutter Butter, so I don't know.
That doesn't make sense.
Nutter Butter has no chocolate. That's just it's a wafer with a peanut butter center.
A tasteless cracker treat.
Is it the one that's shaped like a peanut?
Yeah, that's the one. That's a Nutter Butter.
I've had those before.
I like those.
Indeed. All right, Blizzard Facebook. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, what's going on with that, Bear?
So, pretty soon here, in fact, I'm pretty sure it's maybe even rolling out through the summer, players will be able to log into Blizzard's many titles using their Facebook profile. Blizzard and Facebook are in talks with one another to integrate Facebook's live API into Blizzard's current slate of titles, including, of course, Hearthstone, World of Warcraft, Diablo 3, and there's this little shooter called Overwatch that people are playing. The obvious thing here is that Facebook is massive, and with over 1 billion people at its disposal, obviously Blizzard would certainly like to tap into that demographic jackpot, really, if you will. It's like the info storm that is Facebook. But there's also the flip side of this coin, which is that they're also allowing Facebook streaming integration to come to play in their games. So Overwatch, of course, would be a great game to be able to stream directly to Twitch from, but now they're seeming to focus more on getting Facebook streaming going instead, which I don't know if this is news to you or not, but it's kind of news to me. I didn't realize people were doing Facebook streaming. Did you?
No.
No.
And my question was, why is this a thing? Like, why do they care?
Well, okay, so Facebook streaming, I think the writing is on the wall there pretty clearly that Facebook, again, they've got a massive audience. They've got the video player built into their website already. They have their own custom video player, so there's a framework there, I guess, as well. But I know, I'm getting this story from Polygon. This is where you sent it from me, Nick. And they are streaming on their Facebook page all the time. They're playing Hearthstone on their Facebook page all the time. So I guess this is a new thing. And it made me think, we've been considering what may be able to compete with Twitch. Could it maybe be Facebook?
Gamers fucking hate Facebook.
They do.
Look at the
Gamers
Oculus,
watch
man.
Twitch.
Everybody's freaking out about the Oculus and the DRM. Like, isn't that kind of the same architecture?
But if there's anyone that has the capability to compete with Twitch, this is like sort of a pseudo side story inside the Blizzard Facebook story, obviously. But I'm curious. I know we have the obvious bad blood there with, as you mentioned, Oculus bought by Facebook, and now gamers hate them universally. And there's reasons to be skeptical of Facebook and what their actual end goal may be. But it is interesting to think if Twitch needs a competitor and YouTube clearly isn't really the force that we thought they would be in respect to that, Facebook, it seems like the next logical counterpoint, right?
Most I see a lot of Facebook videos, but it doesn't seem to overlap. The people posting them doesn't seem to overlap demographically with the people that watch stuff on Twitch. It's only based on my anecdotal experience, but it's like people our age who...
Nope, we lost him. Oh, I lost everybody.
Which I not...
hello?
No, hold on. We lost you.
Hello?
Can you restart at the beginning of that point
People
again?
our age.
People our age.
Yeah, people our age. That's all we got.
Okay, yeah. People our age that use it as like a social network and actually share things and like respond to people all the time. I don't feel like that describes the average person that watches videos on Twitch. Like, I'm not really worried about like my friend's wife who always posts like new video or videos for expectant mothers and stuff like that, taking her audience to Facebook, or like my grandma who always posts like things that have actually been debunked in video format. And then like I feel like the audience doesn't really overlap much, but I guess I'm more interested in the like using Facebook to log in to Blizzard games.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm interested in a way that is not like probably conducive to talking on the podcast. Like, I'm interested in what that means for like player behavior standpoint, because so many websites have integrated Facebook registration now, but people are still like total shitheads. Even when they have like their career and their full name attached to it, they're still like really assholes. And also, I worry that because people tend to not secure things like their Facebook account properly, that you'll see people getting into their Facebook, going onto Battle.net, and then buying like a bunch of in-game currency or whatever to try to convert it to something. Like, I know that with the TeamViewer stuff that happened last week, they were buying a bunch of coins on Battle.net or something to get it out of the country. Or I don't know really how it works, but anyway.
That's pretty deep. I do want to give that person credit as an aside. To anyone that's willing to be a shitlord on the internet with your full name attached to it, I mean, damn, you've committed yourself to that behavior. Well played.
Yeah.
I think you're correct though, in that the more interesting part of this is the fact that the Facebook integration is happening with Blizzard, and it so clearly makes sense. It's icky. It's icky to me,
It's gross.
What's the value proposition? What are they offering people who already have an established user base on Twitch? Why would you want to stream there? What would be the advantage other than here's a new platform? Maybe you've already got a ton of people on Facebook. That would be the reason, I guess.
If we're switching to that again, yeah, I think certainly if you're looking at folks like, well, this is a terrible example, but say somebody like SoFlo Antonio, right? He's the guy that posts all those weird, ridiculous Facebook videos.
This is totally me when I do this and steal someone's video.
My reaction when somebody else made this and I thought it was funny, and then he puts black bars on it. Yeah, that's that guy. But he obviously has a thoroughly established Facebook audience that he would probably be able to take advantage of here. And I think there's quite a few people as well who've got a good Facebook following that very well could see a lot of value out of this. It's never really been something I've even thought about, I never thought, okay, well, yeah, YouTube isn't really going to cut it. Daily Motion, I don't think, is going to be a really big competitor. We've got Vimeo over there that's another video website. Like those are the things we think of primarily. But Facebook is showing that they're at least interested in this area of, mass media, right? Like gaming in particular. They have bought Oculus. Obviously, they've got an investment there, but they've also just not really steered away from going this route. So it's a possibility, but it's also just not exciting at all. That's the worst part. Yeah. Even if this were to happen, I don't really want it to. I'm not looking to go to Facebook for streaming competition.
I want to get away from Facebook as much as possible, and I was kind of feeling like that was the direction we were headed in, yet I find out so many people are still very entrenched over there.
Yeah.
I'll admit, like, for some services, I will just use my Facebook login. Like, if they have the option to integrate it, I disable all the stuff that allows it to see, or to post on my wall or whatever.
Yeah.
But, for stuff like Spotify, I'm like, why not? But I recognize that, I'm a little paranoid about this kind of stuff. So if I do it, I think that a lot of people will not even hesitate to do it. But this is again up my own butt. But the streaming stuff, I don't think it's really meant to compete with Twitch. I think it's just Facebook is integrating into its platform. I don't think it's going to be like a game specific competitor to Twitch. It wouldn't be my assumption. But I imagine if they since they purchased Oculus, they're like, maybe it would be good to integrate something like this into our platform and just kind of like double dip, make money off of the purchase, not just on sales, but on keeping people on our website more. People who are streaming from Oculus, they'll keep them here, and we'll see what they click on, how much of it they watch, and we can use that to sell ads, basically.
So it would be their demographic solution to live streaming. So it would run in parallel, not so much a competitor.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah. Of course, the objectively cool thing about this is that they're also adding the go live functionality into the games directly, which is neat. But that's just sort of a yay. That's cool.
Yeah, streaming's not that hard. I don't know. I don't feel like it needs to be
kind of feel like
simplified
that too.
much.
Honestly, I'm starting to think like you're almost making it more complex when you build the streaming into the game. Where like right now we already figured it out. Like it's not that tough for us anymore, so long as you let us either capture the window or we have the appropriate hardware.
Biased. I mean, we've already figured it out. Not everybody.
Well, but at the same time, I think like the ability for anyone to be like, okay, I'm going to go download OBS and learn how to capture a screen region, and then that's sort of the barrier to entry to like the very base level of recording gameplay footage. But
tutorials everywhere. I
Yeah.
feel like anybody could figure it out if you just
Yeah.
have about 2 hours of free time.
I kind of agree with you.
As a 27-year-old, Facebook news feeds are already like really, really bad.
Yeah.
The only thing sadder would be the ability to watch the people who make the Facebook news feeds actually just like stream their days every day.
Just quietly talking to themselves in your wall as you scroll up past
Yeah.
them.
Man, those are the new websites I'm seeing pop up. It's just like literally the idea is stream your whole life. Everything you
Show
do is
shit.
interesting. Yeah. Man,
It's like the one of the recent Facebook controversies in Canada, or controversies that blew up on Facebook, was like Kraft used to manufacture its ketchup, or sorry, Heinz used to manufacture its Canadian brand of ketchup in Canada, but they moved the factory overseas, and then French's, the mustard company, opened the plant back up and started making ketchup back in Canada, and there was like this, I stand with Heinz, I stand with French's stuff. And all I can picture is
I stand with
imagining
Nick.
like scrolling through my Facebook and watching like 10 different people pontificate about, well, it's just ketchup. I don't know. It's Canadian people working Canadian jobs, making Canadian ketchup with Canadian tomatoes. And like, that may actually be the first thing ever where I'd be like, you know what? Maybe I just don't need Facebook anymore. We've gone too far.
I've been on the
I hear
verge
ya.
so many times of just being like, I don't need Facebook. I just delete it. But then there's like the one or two family members that it's the only way I can really kind of keep in contact with them.
I think we all have. It's like those one or two people that are like, okay, we have to stay on Facebook to be able to talk to
Yeah.
these people
It's
because
for
otherwise it
parents
doesn't
and
happen.
relatives and grandparents to talk to each other, and
Yeah.
it's easier for me to just ignore it than to delete my account.
Yeah, that's how I am
Which
too.
is
Like, once a
hilarious that
month-
that's like the arc that Facebook has gone through. It went from being the early adopter kids thing to this is what we keep so we can talk to grandma.
It is. Facebook has aged in like dog years.
Yeah, man.
It's now a grandmother who just makes a post that's like, "What are the first words that Jesus says to you when you get to heaven?" And then everybody
Right.
comments like, "Wow, that's nice."
Yeah, exactly. Facebook has become this thing where like I'll visit once a month or once every other month. I'll see just people yelling at all like family members and friends yelling at each other about politics. And my mom has discovered like Facebook memes and she thinks it's like
Yeah.
hilarious. Her whole feed is just like funny Facebook pictures that have like hilarious captions on them. That's all it is.
Facebook
like-
legitimizing freaking minions for 2016.
Oh god.
You know what though, man? I'm gonna say that parents or older folks finding memes, I actually kind of find it adorable, to be honest. I think
Yeah.
it's like they're like experiencing this whole new section of the
They're not
internet they
gonna
didn't even know
understand that,
existed.
boy.
Yeah,
They
man.
won't.
Last time I was home, my mom asked me how to pronounce the word meme.
What'd you tell her?
I told her meme.
Okay.
Meh.
You didn't want to
I
mess
didn't
with her?
tell her meme. She's gonna end up embarrassing herself in front of some of the internet's most prolific meme makers.
I think you mean meme makers, actually. You're really
Just
being
don't
disingenuous here.
understand.
But the
Okay.
problem, I think Facebook is fine, except for the privacy concerns, but we fucked it up. When we got it and we were so excited that we added everybody, it's like we opened Pandora's box. But instead, it's like, hey, we said hi to each other once. Let's add each other on Facebook for the next decade. That's, we've set unrealistic expectations. The Facebook thing should be like, hey, we've known each other for a while. Is it cool if I add you on Facebook so we can connect more easily?
Yeah.
But in college, it was like, I saw you at this thing. Like,
We're best friends.
Yeah.
we're going to be inextricably linked until the 2020s.
God forbid if you
Socially.
took a picture with him, man, because then it's all over. You are
Oh, yeah.
permanently locked to that person.
Tagged and bagged,
Do you
baby.
remember
I like that.
back in the days of MySpace, you had your top whatever friends?
I was gonna bring that up. I'm like, I missed the days of having your top 8 friends, man.
You miss
I
it?
think
No,
that
it was a
carried
joke.
over into Facebook a little, and we had this thing that's like, well, we could only have 8. Now Facebook lets us have their top 1,000. So let's add every person we can find, and if we have more friends, that means we're more liked by the world. That makes us better people.
That was like, well, I mean, we all just have our Twitter follower number to obsess over now, but that was like back in the high school days. You gotta have as many
Yeah, we're
Facebook
much
friends
more
as
mature.
possible.
How many Twitter follows you got?
Oh yeah, well let me tell you.
More
here.
than me.
Okay, that's enough Blizzard and Facebook nonsense. but-
Retweet that boy.
Oh yeah,
Overwatch
absolutely go retweet Nick's drawing of Dat Boy too, because it's actually
It's
pretty good.
447 and counting.
That's like one of your better drawings, dude. I was really impressed by that one. That was pretty
really
great.
good.
Yeah.
Dracula Fetus said it looked like a 3D model. And
Yeah,
that was
man, it
a
was
huge compliment.
awesome. That was great. Okay,
Thanks, guys.
I'm trying to find it on Twitter right now. That's so good. Okay, let's just jump straight into the E3 predictions. How about that?
Oh yeah.
E3
Works for me.
2016, the big show, the big kabang, the
It's gonna be
Electronic
the best one
Entertainment
The
Expo.
big kabang.
The big kabang.
That's what they call it. You should check the marketing materials, man. So, big conferences. E3 2016 this year. You got all the standard fare. You got your EAs, you got your Bethesdas, you got your MS, Sony, Nintendo, all that good stuff. I think we'll start off. We can just do them in order, I guess, right? Chronological order seems logical. So, predictions for the show this year. Let's start with the EA show. On the 12th, they begin bright and early at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, it's 10 a.m. Pacific. I guess that's kind of early.
DLC for Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Yes! Already on the way. Okay.
Almost guaranteed that I'll be right about that.
Yeah, you go ahead and start us off, Nick. What do you expect to see out of EA this year? That's it?
That's what I know.
Okay.
Beyond that, more Star Wars Battlefront stuff, and I don't know.
Fair enough.
Jump in.
There will be a montage of EA Sports shit that makes Twitter unsufferable for like 10 minutes. Everyone, another man's coming out. I can't believe they would take to the stage to try to sell one of their biggest games ever. I don't understand. Who plays sports anyway? So if you do that, you're part of the problem. But hopefully they bring out some kind of like ancient athlete that can help sell. You know what? It's been a while since they really tried to push like NHL. Maybe they could bring out like Wayne Gretzky or something. Mark Messier. Have him look really awkward.
Well, I think we'll see. I think chat's right. We'll see. We're not gonna see the new Battlefront. Oh fuck, where was it?
Battlefield 1.
Andromeda. We'll see Andromeda.
Oh, yeah, the
yeah.
Mass Effect thing. That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably see Andromeda there.
And the Mass Effect Andromeda trailer will have a choral cover of like from a chorus or choir of
It's your Walking Dead choral every time.
of like an early 2000s like new rock song.
Oh, I want to hear. I want to hear
like Down with the Sickness. Or
that
something,
was what I was
but
gonna say. Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be great. I've heard the 86-year-old man sing "Drowning Pool" now. Now I just need a choir of children.
Let's let the bodies hit the floor. Not Down
with
with Down with the Sickness is Disturbed, guys.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, my bad.
Totally different.
Oh, apologies. I dare not.
It's all right.
I think they'll
Titanfall 2?
Titanfall 2 is basically confirmed at this point, yeah. So that was, I don't know, that's a little unexpected for me as well. I know Titanfall did pretty well when it first came out, but then the community just sort of dropped off like rocks as soon as something else came along. I know that like they still have, a handful of people playing, but I think even the people that played Titanfall can agree with me in that the community dipped quite a bit after the initial launch.
Yeah.
But
There's a dipper.
But a sequel coming along, so there's a little bit of a surprise, I guess.
I would not be surprised to see them do what they did with Hardline and just be like, at the end of the Battlefield 1 showcase, when hype is at its fever pitch, be like, go sign up for the open beta right now. We're going to run it for like a week. And then, I remember, dude, watching that presentation, they'd be like, Hardline! I need it. Like, where's my invite code? I haven't gotten it yet. And then, like, it comes out. You're like, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Or like Mainline.
I would not be surprised if they do that same thing where they're like, you can go get the beta right now.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, woo!
I think they kind of have to, like they really got to just latch onto it right away, or it's just going to go away again. Any other predictions for EA?
Maybe a new NBA game. Maybe they're gonna try again.
So there was.
They just keep trying.
What's their MOSA? They've got to have a MOSA coming out, too.
I think, that's got to be down the line, right? What sort of EA MOSA would we expect? I think a MOSA set in the Mass Effect universe, maybe. There's like a little bit of Commander Shepard. mixed up with some.
Oh, it's because there's like what 3 or 4 different alignments in that universe, so you could probably take one of those sides.
Yeah, man, I think that works out kind of well. You get your what's the Sligarian? Slytherin. Yeah, the
Not
Harry
the
Potter
Hufflepuff,
house.
but the Slytherin. Yeah.
There's a few different races there. You can mix them all up. That could work out.
If they make a Mass Effect hero shooter, they deserve to go bankrupt.
I agree.
Okay.
The time is not right for a Mass Effect extended universe, I think.
Says
Dragon
you.
Age?
Dragon
Is there any
Age.
Dragon Age coming up?
I don't think I'd see anything like that from them. I think they've got, Battlefield 1 they're obviously going to be going all in with because the internet loves them for it. Star Wars, I guess something could come from that, but I don't know about that. And then you've got...
We're pleased to announce we're issuing a cease and desist to Galaxy Reborn.
Love
Everybody
that on the
freaking
show
busting
floor,
out in applause.
Yeah, oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, take him down.
So I think they've got like a big 3 that we're basically guaranteed to see this year in Battlefield 1, Andromeda, and we were just talking about it, Titanfall 2. So that's a pretty hefty lineup for them for this year. So I think that'll probably just about round it out.
What about a new PopCap game? Have they been...
What is happening? What's happening to PopCap, man?
2?
Yeah, they just came out with Garden Warfare 2.
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably go hard on Garden Warfare 3 at this point because it seems to be all they care about now.
Yeah, I mean,
Did Garden Warfare 2 come out exclusively for anything? No, it came out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Mm-hmm.
They might come out with another one. I don't know.
wouldn't
I
be
wouldn't be
too
surprised
shocked.
with PopCap stuff.
Peggle 3. Sign me up. I love Peggle.
Just
Don't
Plants
bother me.
vs. Zombies is just insanely popular, though. And, I mean, I played a little bit of it, and I had some fun. But it's it's kind of another one that's like, wow, this has that many people that really love it? Okay, cool. Right. And that is EA for the most part, I think, then. Next one. If I can pull up my schedule Rooney here again. I think it's Bethesda? Yeah, it's Bethesda. Bethesda! I think the big rumor swirling around for the Bethesda is going to be the Skyrim remake. / Elder Scrolls 6, I guess. You gotta put those sort of lined up right next to each other in terms of hype. But
Where did this rumor come out of? Because I only just heard you guys talking about it.
it's been pretty recent, I think. It's developing very quickly, though, as far as rumors go. Like
okay.
it's beginning to become a lot more concrete. It didn't really come from an official source, I don't think. Might have even just been a gaffe thing, actually. But
Okay.
yeah,
We'll see more on their Elder Scrolls card game, no doubt.
Yep.
If we see a remaster of 5, cool. If we see the announcement of Elder Scrolls 6, I'll be cautiously excited, but I'm kind of sick of their formula at this point because all the games starting to feel the same.
That's fair.
They're all kind of just reskins in a updated old engine. I mean, I understand like most engines are just built on older engines, but it's Fallout 4 was kind of just like a shinier version of the Skyrim engine. They need to do a lot with their formula for me to be like buy-in, I think, again. I really want them to create a much deeper game, and The Witcher 3 did that for me. I kind of want to see. It doesn't need to be that like The Witcher 3, but I want more depth and complexity to their games than what's available right now.
I think the Skyrim and Witcher 3 comparison is really solid, actually. I feel like they're kind of parallel to one another now, and not to mention the fact that like I've seen recently some new posts coming up about even further Skyrim mods. Like people have been modding Skyrim for 5 years, and they're still making it better. And it's like it's almost comparable to the way that The Witcher 3 looks now. And I mean, like I think it's a clear choice there, though. Like, would you rather invest hundreds of hours into modding the game to make it look like The Witcher 3, or just play The Witcher 3? Right? Yeah, I guess that's sort of a that's maybe not the choice a lot of people make, but still. But for Skyrim, for the remaster that to come around, that actually, I'm excited for that. I'm kind of excited to play that. I feel like a Bethesda polished Skyrim remaster, well, I know the idea of Bethesda polish is kind of a joke, but it's supposedly going to include all the DLC. It will include mod support. Obviously, the graphics will be overhauled and upgraded and all that good stuff. But I loved Skyrim when it first came out. That was another one of the few that I went to the midnight release for. That was a big release for me.
Big deal.
And yeah, it was great. So I'm pretty excited for that.
We'll see Dishonored 2 as well.
Oh yeah, there we go.
That'll be a big one.
Dishonored 2 is going to be huge. I'm going to play through Dishonored again, I think, because I'm excited.
Show of hands who played Dishonored.
I still haven't.
You haven't?
I played a little,
All the
but
time.
like Mathis, I'm gonna play through it before the sequel comes out.
It's not a terribly long game, if I remember correctly.
No, it's only like 7 or 8
that's-
hours, I think.
It's like 45 minutes if you're BizSnap.
Yeah, I was gonna say I watched his snap beat it about 15 times.
Man, he's entertaining as a streamer. Let's just make it as base level as a compliment as I can give him.
I would not be surprised. Well, I mean, I think there's some obvious stuff. Like, I think there will be like a Doom expansion maybe will get announced.
That'd be cool.
But even more in keeping with that, I think maybe Bethesda's like, hey, Doom did better than we thought. Wolfenstein did better than we thought. Maybe we should just keep like doubling down on these like old properties and actually making new versions of them that are sick. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
That's the
surprised
thing,
to see
right?
like
Like,
a new
they're-
Wolfenstein. Honestly,
They're good remakes, I guess, or relaunches
Yeah.
of these old franchises. They're
I'm
really
not going to
good.
spoil, but I have to say, based on how Doom ended, I feel like they are setting it up for a sequel. If only by the way that they're copying the previous trajectory of the original game and its sequel. And I won't say any more than that.
Fair enough.
But if you finished it, hopefully you know what I'm talking about. I would also say, and I'm going to throw Rob under the bus here, but he seems to think that there is going to be a sort of like a New Vegas analog to Fallout 4 that might be announced,
Like handing off the property to another developer?
perhaps, or that something's been in parallel development.
possible, but I also feel like they're not done milking Fallout 4 yet.
Sure.
But this is all, I mean, we should point out that it's all conjecture.
Complete
but I think
conjecture.
that there will be at least one more big story DLC released for Fallout 4. It doesn't seem, at least it doesn't seem in keeping with the New Vegas model to just release like Automatron and then Far Harbor. And I think there's one more, but
Yeah.
it's like the Wasteland. It might have even already come out, but I would not be surprised to see one more. But I would be stoked to see like an actual a Fallout 4 engine-based, more RPG style Fallout side.
My dream is give it up to Obsidian again.
Yeah.
Like, let me see
Yeah.
Obsidian take the reins and make another game with that engine, because New Vegas is my favorite of the two older Fallout 3-esque games, I guess. So it's just, I think, I've said it before, and I'll say it a million more times, Obsidian writes a better story, while Bethesda creates a better, more interesting world to walk around.
I agree. I think the cycle for Fallout 4 is probably not done yet. I remember, actually, I bought every Fallout 3 DLC, weirdly enough. Like,
Same.
I liked it well enough that I was just like, this is just, it's so much fun. I want to keep playing it. I was like, I think there were 5.
5.
Yeah. There was Anchorage, there was the Mothership, and then there was, there was like a
Lookout.
Brotherhood one, right? Broken Steel or something like that. So, yeah, that was great. And I while I'm no longer playing Fallout 4, I would fully expect that for at least another like year or so, I would expect more Fallout 4 DLC on the way before they start to announce any sort of further spin-offs from the mainline franchise.
Yeah.
They could announce it and still trickle the DLC in for another year.
Yeah, entirely true too. Dishonored 2, I want to go back to real quick because I really liked Dishonored. I think that was another surprise sequel announcement for me. Honestly, I guess I'm just I'm maybe a little bit just surprised when any new IP gets a sequel. That just seems to be my formula at this point. Like, oh wow, it actually did well enough. That's great. But Dishonored, I really enjoyed playing through the first one, and it's got such a good, vibrant world too. Like, I'm actually interested in the characters there, you know? Like, I want to see their stories play out further, so I'm really excited for that. Further Bethesda speculation, perhaps. I think we've maybe rounded it all out.
That's about all I've got.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Next on the list. Keep misplacing the damn thing. Why do I not just keep the schedule up? Shit. It's going to be Microsoft. They actually start bright and early, 9:30 in the morning on June 13th. What are we seeing from the MS conference, y'all?
We're going to see their new console announced, and we're going to realize it is paired with an Oculus or Oculus ready.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see VR out of Microsoft at some point, and I really think it's going to be built to handle Oculus, at least the headset itself, and then the games made for Xbox are going to be made to run on the Xbox, not like plugging into the PC. I think we're going to see VR out of Microsoft. I think it's going to be Oculus.
Mm-hmm.
The big question I've got is I've seen a bunch of reports saying that this codename Scorpio device is what they're calling it, that it's going to be compatible with 4K TVs. Now, I don't know if what they want us to read into that is that it will run games in 4K, but if they are implying that, I want to say that's very unlikely.
No, there's no way. We had this conversation before.
PCs can hardly do it.
Yeah, we had this conversation either last week or the week before. PCs can barely, the top of the line PCs can only kind of do 4K, well.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way the console's going to do it. Do they upscale it and it would still look bad? Is it just going to be like 4K video and like movies? Will the games run at 5 frames per second? There's just no way they can do it.
I just kind of feel like it's super disingenuous that they're putting this as like a bullet point on what these features might be because they probably won't be able to do it. So why do it at all? They're just marketing it on
Yeah, it's got to be upscaling. It has to be.
Yeah.
I don't like that I've seen that already. It bugs me a bit.
I sort of feel like for Microsoft to make people excited, they need to throw kind of like a Hail Mary that is almost impossible to predict right now. I think cheaper Xbox One and VR-ready Xbox One, which might be 2 separate units, is something for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But apart from that, when you go down the obvious list of stuff, I'm like, okay, like the Gears of War 4 launch, or not launch, but probably an extended preview. New Forza, new Crackdown.
Oh yeah, the Crackdown. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I mean, people will be stoked about Crackdown, but I don't think they're going to be stoked enough to be like everyone's just going to be like, man, I wish this wasn't on Xbox One, right?
They'll probably put it on Windows 10 exclusive, and I'll be like, well, shit, I'm still not getting Windows 10. So I guess
think that's honestly going to be like a focal point of the entire MS conference this year too. Is going to be games for Windows Live, and that's just kind of disappointing. It's another.
It does feel like people care about the software once the hardware, foundational level, is taken care of. And I think people are just so, they have no, if they don't own an Xbox One already, they have so few reasons to get excited about it that they're like, why would I care about this game when I could just, either upgrade to Windows 10 possibly and get it, or just play something else on a different console. It has such a poisonous problem right now of a lack of inertia. It's been out for so long and people just don't care by and large about it. Even I have friends who are casual game fans that I was talking about them last week that own Halo and play Halo, but they are disappointed in their Xbox One purchase, even though they bought it for Halo. And they're like, well, yeah, I don't know what you do in that. And we have to always clarify that we're not trying to just be Sony or PC fanboys, but I think they have a real problem that they gotta do something foundational to kind of shift away from it.
Nah, man, I'll say it again. I really hope it's not painted as me being a Sony or PC fanboy, because I'm basically just a disgruntled Xbox One purchaser, right? I
got a free bag of buyer's guilt when you picked up your Xbox One.
I bought the fucking console. I was quintessentially that guy, and I've said this multiple times on this show, but I basically bought the Xbox One to play the Master Chief Collection, and that whole thing fucked up. So I've been pretty much trying to justify the purchase since then, and I struggle to think of what has done it for me. There was a long period after Master Chief Collection fucked up entirely that thing just sat in a box. Seriously, I put it back in the packaging, and it was just in my closet. And now it's just sort of by virtue of circumstance that it's back out. I think I had a couple of games to play on it or something, but yeah, I think what would probably excite me, the Hail Mary that I think you're talking about, I think it's got to be some sort of Oculus cooperation like Mathis mentioned. I think, we have already kind of a hint that they're working together, right? Because Microsoft coupled in the Xbox One controller with all the Rift purchases. So there's obviously been talks, and they're working together, but I think it's got to be a really out of the fucking box. It's like boardroom speak that we're getting into right now, honestly.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they may be in just as desperate of a situation as we kind of peg them to be right now, but I think it's just got to really even HoloLens isn't exciting because it doesn't feel like something that I can use. It feels like, oh, this is fucking awesome future tech, but I'm never going to have this in my house. I need like a consumer level dope ass VR setup from Microsoft. I want that from my Xbox this year.
Yeah.
Well, if they bet on it, they've got to bet big.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If they go VR, they're going to go hard on it because it doesn't seem like they've got a lot of other strategies.
And I think it's got to be something like, you've got to compete with Vive too, so you've got to have some sort of, I think, maybe even new motion controller technology they're working on. I mean, I don't think it's even far-fetched to assume that Microsoft was even developing something like that while they had the Kinect team going full force for those couple of years that they were really determined to make that work. But
a different one than Touch to go with the Oculus?
you know, like any sort of new peripheral, I think could be pretty exciting too if they were to unveil something like that works in conjunction with any sort of new Oculus-based console that they were to come out with. That would
Isn't Touch coming out in just like a few months? I thought it was
I'm
by
not sure. I couldn't tell you, but
something this year.
yeah. Yeah, that's like hardware exclusively too, and we haven't even really touched on maybe what sort of first-party Microsoft titles may be coming along, but I don't know if there are many anymore, to be honest.
We kind of ran down the list already.
Yeah.
Gears,
Forza,
and Halo, and Forza.
Yeah. Oh, there was more. Apparently, Recore may be making another appearance for 2016. That was the one with do you remember the big blue orb trailer? that we saw
that's
last
what I thought
year?
you were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That one looked
That's one of those
pretty
games I was like, we're here! And then they're like, gone. Okay, bye. We'll see
Exactly.
you next year.
So I'm just actually looking up the news now. I guess it may even have had a release date leak, Recore, so that's exciting stuff. So if they show that again, that actually might excite me. I think that trailer last year was pretty interesting, so I'd be interested in seeing more about Recore.
I've said it time and time again that, like, at this point, I'm so out of touch with at least rabid, like, fanboyism for this stuff that this may actually just be wrong. But for me personally, the Xbox One, even though I own one, is kind of past the point where I can just, like, be excited to use it based on the software.
Yeah.
Like, it needs... even the PS4 has this problem for me, but it's got the exclusives that I like, so it kind of gets over it a little bit. But, like... for me, they would have to be like, here's like 10 amazing looking games, and then I'd be like, you know what? They're making like a real effort to bridge the gap here between either PC or PS4, depending on your perspective.
What about... There was another game that made the Xbox like something I contemplated. Is it canceled? It was the Platinum game. The Platinum game with the dragon. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Scalebound.
Scalebound. Yeah, where you're the guy with the, like, it's like the future, but he has like a dragon pet. It was Platinum, which made me excited.
Yeah, I remember now. I'd forgotten about that.
2017.
All right, that was another one that was. I remember. Maybe we'll see some more Scalebound.
We got the IGN gameplay preview up here, pre-alpha.
Is that like what Platinum does now? Like, they're the studio that you buy an exclusive from to sell your console. They gave Bayonetta 2 to Nintendo, and then they're going to go for Scalebound on the Xbox One.
Dirty pattern.
Good
man.
on them. I
Yeah.
like Platinum.
All right, right on.
COD 4 remake.
Platinum is hit or miss, man. They're like great, or they get like the Ninja Turtles game, or the
This
Korra
is like
game.
good Platinum, though.
Yeah, this is
I want it
Platinum.
to
Isn't
be.
there like a theory? Platinum has like two teams going, like the A team and the shovelware team.
That's how it seems to be. Like, based on the fact that half of the stuff they come out with is like a 9, and half of it is like a 3.
Yeah, yep. It's really weird.
It would be weirder though if it was all the same team and they just had like a really weird period of inconsistency.
Where did the Transformers game land? Wasn't that like in the middle between
Yeah,
the
that
two?
was like
It's
a
like
7
a 5 or
something.
6, I thought.
I actually heard
yeah.
pretty good things about the most recent Transformers game. I heard people were really enjoying that one.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's
I don't
based
know
on
that.
your love of the
The
series.
Legend of Korra one sucked, and apparently the Ninja Turtle one sucks.
Nah.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew the Ninja Turtle one wasn't getting too well received. Yeah. All right. Well, that might do it for Microsoft then. Next up on the list is good old PC gaming, if we want to even really give that the time of day. I don't know.
I mean, here's what I was just about to say, I really hope the PC gaming show is way shorter than it was last year.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
less awkward.
Mm-hmm. It's always been just sort of an afterthought, I feel like, too, you know?
Well, this last year was the first time there was like a proper PC showcase.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good initiative, but they also like. I sort of feel like they need to, as the producers of the show, and I love how we're talking. We know there's going to be cool stuff, so we're like, okay, here's what I want out of the show. Like, I'm not worried about announcements, but they need the producers to be like, you don't need to be on stage to talk about your Guild Wars 2 DLC for 15 minutes. Like, you come up, show the trailer, it'll be out here. These are the features. Get off the stage. Like. You don't need to have everybody that comes on sit on the couch for 10 minutes and explain what they're doing. Like, people, that's not what they're there for at E3. They just want, like, oh, shit, big announcement, Twitter. Big announcement, Twitter. Oh, snarky tweet. This doesn't look very good. Like, if they could make that a little, like, bring people on for cool stuff if it's amazing, if it blows people away, but, like, minor stuff, just keep moving. Announce it and keep moving.
They got 90 minutes this year.
That's way better. Last year was like
show.
3 hours.
Yeah,
I was say, wasn't last year like it just never ended?
Mm-hmm.
Do we know it was actually 3 hours, or did it just feel like 3 hours?
I think it was 2, honestly.
Literally 3 hours.
It was 2 or 3, but it was long, yeah.
I'm fine with Day 9 hosting again. He was great.
Yeah, no complaints.
And it's brought by AMD, isn't it?
PC
idea.
Gamer, I think, is actually doing it this year.
Okay.
And they've got their list as well of what they expect to show, or at least who they expect to show, which includes... Oh, AMD is on the list, too. Okay, that makes sense. New World Interactive's on there. You got Oculus, Paradox Interactive, Square Enix, Relic, and a few others as well. Looking like a pretty good
Is that an
lineup.
invite-only show, Ryan? We should go to that one.
No, that's free to attend.
We should go sit on
All you got to
If we
do
can
is
get in,
reserve a
yeah.
ticket.
I'd go, oh, okay, we're fucked.
Yeah, I was gonna. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
My
it says
E3
this
ticket
about-
doesn't get me in. God damn.
I'm not paying to watch ads for one, but also that's probably already spoken for, is my guess. But that's cool though.
Yeah.
I would go absolutely
man.
if we can.
Do
All
it.
right, cool.
Do it. Report back.
PC show, sweet.
Yeah, all right. Well, is there any? I mean, we don't
Sony?
we don't
Did
know
we
a
talk
lot
Sony
about.
already?
We will talk Sony. I just want to make sure we're not like completely brushing over the PC gaming aspect, because I'm pretty sure they're keeping things under wraps for the most part. But
I don't know what exactly we want to
never
hear
really-
from them.
yeah, we never
it's
really-
just like, man, I'm in this space all day, every day. Like, I find this news out anyway. This is not a huge thing for me.
yeah,
If they could talk about like how awesome your new fucking 4-way SLI NVIDIA 1080 deal would be, that would be fun to watch
Yeah,
for 5 minutes.
you show me
For me.
You show me 4K on 4SLI 1080s, and we're in business. Because
that would
apparently
only
it doesn't
cost
work.
like $3,500.
That's not that.
I think
big
we
of
all
a-
get three 3 free 1080s when we go to E3.
Oh,
so
dope.
I'll give you guys one.
Only
Thanks,
3?
man.
You got to buy the 4th one yourself?
Yeah, that's where they get
What
you.
kind of power source would you need to run 4 of those?
They give you one of those too.
Hadron
1080.
Collider.
Part of the swag bag.
Good deal.
Oh, dude, that's a good question. E3 2015 swag bag.
Oh, come on.
Tiny
now.
pack of magic cards.
All right. Well, now
That's PAX bag.
you got me curious. Did you find it?
It looks like the swag bag is based on like the booths. You don't actually just get the swag.
Oh, you
when
gotta
Oh,
like,
shit.
you gotta make the
That's
effort.
It's gonna be my own ARG. How much can I get from each one of these booths?
Yeah.
Do it, dude. Okay.
I will.
Let's do. We'll get to Ubisoft. How about that? Ubisoft's got I think probably a pretty big lineup this year. Actually, of course, they've got Watch Dogs 2, one of the big ones. We should be seeing the next South Park game, which I totally forgot about. The Fractured But
I'm down
Whole.
for that.
Mm-hmm. I like saying that one out loud. For Honor is another game coming around from
I'm
Ubisoft.
excited for that,
So,
too.
yeah, you guys seen For Honor? I'm pretty excited for that. It's
Are they doing the number 4?
no,
for the
they're
4?
gonna do FOR. Yeah, they ruined
Damn
it.
it!
But that's like the Viking theme, and just really that alone almost sells me on it. So excited for that too.
You should call it Thor Honor.
Oh, I like that better.
That's pretty good, actually. Yeah. Are you guys excited to see out of Ubisoft? Mathis?
See, I'm so like, okay, I'm excited for Honor, but hopefully I wonder if it'll be playable there. But I'm so if like E3 in general, I have a healthy amount of like, well, we'll see how it actually comes out. I mean, Watch Dogs. See, the thing with Watch Dogs, people shit all over it, right? And they're pissed because it was marketed in a particular way. Yep. It didn't look like it was marketed. It didn't necessarily play like it was marketed, but it was still a solid game. Like, it was a game that was not terrible. It was like a 7 or an 8, depending on how much you liked it. I'm excited to see what they've taken from the criticisms and make Watch Dogs 2, because the parkour elements in Watch Dogs 2 at least look cool. Mm-hmm. I like that. They do.
I will give them that.
And apparently the driving is going to be a lot less shitty. It's going to be more GTA style, I guess, more arcadey. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going into that any Ubisoft game going, oh my god, this is going to change the face of gaming.
You're not doing this. What I'm about to say, you're not doing it. Okay. But I will say, I'm living in the worst possible future that branched off of
the darkest timeline.
Yes, the darkest timeline, precisely. Because now there's a budding narrative that I expect to pick up steam if the marketing material is as good as it usually is from Ubisoft, that Watch Dogs 2 is going to be a redemption game. It's going to be with the Watch Dogs series what Assassin's Creed 2 was. Yeah. And the reason it bugs me is not necessarily whether it's right or wrong, but that I was there when Watch Dogs came out being like, it's not actually like that bad though. Like, it's not great, but it's okay. And now people are buying into it. The last thing, it's like literally the last time you saw something, you're like, it's a piece of shit. And then you start hearing, hey, I think that piece of shit, they've been shining it a little bit. In your head, it should still be shitty until it comes out.
Yep.
You shouldn't, it's going through the same process they always go through.
They're going to create a false narrative around this idea that the first one, like the way it worked out was the way it was supposed to work
out. Guys, the stream is having issues.
Oh, shit.
Chat is freaking the fuck out.
We're dropping some frames. I think we're good now. Yeah. Okay.
Good? All right.
I think.
Back.
All right, continue. Sorry, Nick.
Go ahead, Nick.
So they're going to market it around this false narrative that, like, the way it worked out before was the way it was meant to work out. And then they're going to use that to prop up the new one and give them, like you said, the redemption that they thought they needed. So they're basically just creating a new world around what the perception was instead of what actually happened. I find that very frustrating.
I agree. And if it's great, if it ends up being amazing, awesome. You know? Like, most people don't really love Grand Theft Auto 1 that much, and then, you know, midway through the series it became a juggernaut. If Watch Dogs does that, that's totally cool, but I hate that consumers are buying into it, not en masse yet, but they're starting to. It's like, hey, misleading marketing led to us thinking this game was like really shitty, but the marketing for the new one looks pretty good.
And that means they get to screw you twice with the same premise.
All right, look. I want to come to bat for Watch Dogs in general, okay? I really liked Watch Dogs. I say that because I've realized something about myself now, which is that if I play a game through to completion, I really liked it. Because that doesn't happen anymore. And I did that with Watch Dogs, like, on my own, not even making videos or streams or anything. I just played it, and it was really great for me. And I know the story isn't awesome, the character is this weird, forgettable hacker guy, and they've actually done away with him now in favor of, like, a group of hackers in the Bay Area, so that's kind of cool. But I really liked it. I feel like the entire reason that most people shit on it is because it got downgraded, which, yeah, it did, but that didn't really take anything away. I never felt like I was cheated out of an experience. I didn't feel like they were pulling the wool over my eyes. I had fun with Watch Dogs, and now I'm pretty sure that I am, you know, in very familiar company, actually, because I'm seeing Watch Dogs 2, I'm seeing the hype surrounding it, I'm seeing this whole cycle start over again, and I'm seeing the fact that this trailer has fucking 3 million views in like 4 days. People are excited as fuck about this, whether or not they want to admit it or not. And I think Watch Dogs is a really great game, and I'm pretty fucking excited for the second one. I wish that the entire fiasco hadn't happened, and while, again, I'm not in favor of them downgrading their games, and it's very clear that they did that, but it's so blown out of proportion at this point that I kind of wish we could just do away with it and say, you you know what? Watch Dogs was pretty good. Watch Dogs 2 looks pretty damn good too. That's my opinion on it. Just echoed in silence.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I also beat Watch Dogs, and I thought it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this game's all right. The only thing that bugs me is people shitting on it, also building the narrative that this is like the redemption arc. But I'm also of the opinion, like, people are watching like the Warcraft movie, which I have not seen, and they're like, yeah, it was pretty bad, but I'm excited for the sequel. And I just don't understand. It's like the same psychology that for whatever reason doesn't resonate with me. But different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
If it's great and I look like an asshole as a result of this conversation, that's fine. If the game's great, that's the only thing that matters. But I mean, we're talking about E3, and I'm bitching about marketing, but like,
oh yeah.
I wish people would not buy into the marketing so much yet.
It's funny to hear the people talk just about the Warcraft movie, because from what I hear, it's like, well, the reason people think it's good is because it didn't like shit on the lore and shit on the game. It's like, well, it's still an okay to bad movie, but hey, they didn't shit all over the lore and make it good for the so thumbs up. It's like, that doesn't make a good movie. Great, they respected the world and the lore, but if it's a shit movie, it's still a shit movie.
Doesn't that disrespect it more than not shitting on the lore?
Well, man, they didn't fuck up the game world, all right? So at least give them credit for that.
They only fucked up their own world, and as long as they only fuck up their own shit, that's fine by us.
People design the rules as they go, it seems. I don't know, it's really malleable.
Yeah, a little bit.
My opinion on Watch Dogs is that I didn't think it was a fantastic game. I also didn't think it was an awful game. It was somewhere in the middle. I like sandbox games enough that I can pretty much always derive some entertainment just from dicking around in them. So that for that reason alone, I'd be just fine with playing with 2, especially, and this is bolstered by the parkour elements, which look good.
Yeah, they do.
So even if there's nothing more to the game mechanically than, okay, you can move fluidly through this world, I'll still have fun dicking around in that. Doesn't mean I'll enjoy the game for what they tried to give me as far as a narrative presentation, but I have fun with things the way I want to have fun with them sometimes.
Yeah.
And I would probably buy it on that premise.
Indeed. All right.
And you know what? Everybody here gets the right to buy Watch Dogs 2, because we gave Watch Dogs 1 a chance.
Yeah,
that's right.
The trash dance.
Earn that
shit. Exactly.
People were so looking for. I just remember people playing Watch Dogs and looking like for the smallest thing wrong and be like, they fucking downgraded it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember people going up to the windows and being like, the reflection doesn't reflect the thing behind me.
It's fucking bullshit.
There
I
is
saw that.
an interesting
It was bullshit, though.
to be had probably at a later podcast. But there was that video this week that was like, the promises Ubisoft has made and the ones they haven't delivered on. And I think there's an interesting conversation to be had about like what marketing material means in terms of like an implicit contract between the developer, the publisher, and the consumer. Because there's some stuff like there's already the disclaimer like this may not represent accurately the final product of the game. Sometimes you can hide behind that and be like, well, we took out this feature because of blah, blah, blah reason that was actually a great selling point. But sometimes it's like, if they decide as developers that they want to like switch up the story or they want to go in like a different direction, is that actually like a lie, or is that just something that happens when you're developing a product or a piece of software that sometimes you're like, you know what, this isn't working out. We've got to like back off from this and go somewhere else. And I think that's why I'm always like, people even joke about it, say like anti-consumer, when I'm like, don't buy into the marketing material. But the marketing material is like a promise of something that does not yet exist. It's like, this is what this is going to be, but things, they change as they're in motion,
Yeah.
They don't always hit the target. And what the funny thing is there, too, they can use it as cover. Even if they didn't mean to do anything malicious, the people who do want to use something malicious can use the fact that it's a moving target as cover to release shit that isn't good.
And there are ads, I think, that are deliberately deceptive.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen the ad for like fucking 13 Dead End Drive or like any board game? It's always like digital characters getting like sculptures dropped on their heads and stuff, and then you open up the box and it's just cards.
Man, yeah, I remember I was watching the ad for Don't Wake Daddy back when I was 11, and I was like, man, this looks like a bunch of fun. It doesn't even ship with an actual dad. It's like, man, what's even the point, Why
do you see every mobile game has the same ad now of someone like in a real world place, and it's being filled up with these CG objects or people doing whatever the game object is. That's just the ad now.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's the ad.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Well, Other Ubisoft games of note, mentioned briefly here, this new South Park game, The Fractured Butthole, is coming around.
That's what they're calling it?
Yeah, The Fractured Butthole. That's the
Like
play on words.
fractured
butthole.
Yeah, you got it now. So from last year's E3 was when I believe they announced the new South Park game. Did you guys play The Stick of Truth? Anybody?
Yes.
Yeah?
I
That's
finished
right.
it, actually.
You did. What did you think of it?
I thought it was actually very good.
Yeah.
I would give that like a somewhere between, like maybe an 8, somewhere in there.
It's pretty good.
I'm more in the 7 region, but I thought it was all right.
I got a little bored of it, honestly. I think I wasn't really wanting like a pure RPG sort of experience in South Park, but that is what that was, and what a lot of people liked as well. So I think that was clearly just an issue of my personal preference toward it. But I think
It was too easy. Like,
Was it pretty easy as well?
it was way too easy.
My problem
Right.
was it wasn't that funny, honestly.
Yeah?
There wasn't that many great jokes I found.
Agreed.
Whatever. It wasn't bad is the point. Not.
I
that it
thought
wasn't
that the humor was like at the level of like your average South Park episode.
South Park.
Packs.
South Park.
Capac.
Yeah. I'm excited to play the new South Park, though. I think even though I didn't really enjoy the actual gameplay of the first one, The Stick of Truth, I still was, having a good time just because it's like, I think the easiest recommendation ever for The Stick of Truth and then probably subsequently The Fractured Butthole is going to be, if you like South Park as a show and you are kind of interested in games, then you're probably going to want to play it, bottom line. And I think that's all we've got for Ubisoft, right?
There's a new Ghost Recon, I thought.
Oh, yeah, there's a
Oh, that
Ghost
was announced
Recon
last year, too,
something or
yeah.
other. What was that one? Wildlands. Yeah, that was it. Ghost Recon
I'm
Wildlands.
okay, like, if they keep making these tactical shooters pretty good. That's fine by me.
What was the last Ghost Recon game you played, though? Mine was on the PS2.
Well, like, there was Future Soldier. Was that the one they did, like, all those betas for back in the 360 era?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Played a little Future Soldier, but it
Yeah,
got a
Little Future Soldier too.
the COD thing, and I don't even dislike Call of Duty, but like the advanced warfare kind of theme just permeated like every shooter of that era, which was the problem with Future Soldier, where like every gadget was from like the near future. But anyway, it was okay. But
Yeah.
Rainbow Six Siege was good. The last Rainbow Six game I played was on the original Xbox.
Yeah, Vegas. Or no, that would have been just the
Oh, you know
original,
what?
right?
I
Yeah.
did play Vegas.
You did play Vegas
So
as well? Vegas
you
was
actually-
Vegas 2? There was also
You
a second
inadvertently,
Vegas.
you inadvertently caught me in a lie. I did not play Vegas 2 though.
Oh, okay. There we go. All right, and that is Ubisoft.
See, what? Wait,
Yeah,
Vegas
right.
was Rainbow Six.
Yes.
Yeah, we were
We
talking about
jumped
Rainbow
from
Six.
Ghost Recon to Rainbow Six.
I
Yeah,
got you.
They get
lost.
confusing.
Continue.
All this
They're all
Tom
the
Clancy
same.
shit, man. He's got, man, it just occurred to me. He's got like, is it 3 or is it 4? He's got Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, Splinter Cell, and
Hawks.
oh yeah, oh god, I
Oh,
remember
gosh.
that.
How'd you forget about Hawks?
There was only
How
one,
could
I
you
think,
forget
right?
Hawks? Oh god, was that going to be a franchise?
I mean, if it did well, I'm sure it would have been.
Yeah, I guess so. I just tried to spell it with a Z. I thought they were getting a little,
No, that's too
a little
cheeky.
edgy
even for
with
them.
their marketing there. All right. Well, yeah, that's Ubisoft.
Are we not seeing an Assassin's Creed this year?
I mean, it's a possibility. I think they didn't announce a new one last year either, did they?
I thought they were like, we're taking a year off.
Yeah.
Or
Oh
something
yeah,
like
there's going to be a year break
Mhm.
between Assassin's Creeds now.
We forgot the Division is also Tom Clancy.
We'll see an expansion.
God,
of
yeah,
the Division maybe
jeez.
while we're there. Maybe we'll see a Division expansion announced.
Yeah, it could happen. I think, the Division has still maintained their player base fairly effectively. They're also taking a really harsh stance on cheaters, I think, in line with
I
what
saw
Blizzard
that.
has been doing, too. So they're looking pretty good there. I think the Division is going to be sticking around for a while. I kind of got tired of it already. I was actually kind of into it right off the release, but now I haven't played it in weeks, and I think there's a pretty obvious reason for that in that I've been playing Overwatch instead, but also it didn't really capture my attention too much. So maybe an expansion might get me back into it, but yeah, the Division's doing pretty well. Okay.
Sweet.
On to Sony then. That's the final big conference is Sony. They usually end up going last, and going out with a bang, at least for the last few years. So probably going to follow suit again this year, right? What are you guys predicting?
Nintendo the last one?
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, they're going to be there.
They're just doing the treehouse thing, right? It's not like...
They're doing a Zelda thing, expose.
They were doing the big Zelda reveal, and then they keep saying that it's not just going to be Zelda at E3 as well, but it's not going to be the NX. Yeah, it's not really going to be anything else.
Sorry, go ahead with the Sony.
Yeah, sure. So Sony, what do we expect out of Sony this year? Somebody else go ahead and go with the Sony predictions. I would love to see Kingdom Hearts 3. I would love to see Kingdom Hearts 3 announced for this year, but that's not going to happen because we got Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Prologue release Maximum Hype Overdrive Edition, whatever the fuck it's called. So that's coming out around later this year, and then Final Fantasy 15 probably not till like maybe even 2018. Honestly, I'm pretty sure that's still
that far out.
Well, no,
I'm sure they'll
show
stuff. Though.
They'll show it. Yeah, they'll absolutely show it there. But I think it's still at least another year, if not two.
I thought it would be like a fall 2017 holiday release.
That sounds. Yeah, I think that's probably right. Fall 2017, quarter 4 2017. What else? Any other big ones?
Well,
Ready at Dawn is making a new game. I don't know if it's going to be at the Sony conference or not, though.
Who is?
Ready at Dawn. They created the Order 1886.
Oh, okay.
And they announced a new game. So their new game is being published by GameStop's publisher now.
Oh, yeah. Game Trust.
It is. Yeah, and it's called Deformers, and it is. They're proud to announce our brand new title, Deformers, a fast, frantic, third-person smash-em-up arena game where you consume, compete, and conquer your friends.
So
they went from the Order 1886, which was supposed to be a smash hit, to like this cartoony, cube-like creatures that just run into each other.
Yeah, it seems to be.
That worked for Beyblades.
I'm trying to find anything about it, but they don't seem to want to promote it.
There's a picture. There's a couple pictures, and that's it.
All right. Yeah, that's all we got.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Not seeing too much else that they'd really get into. I mean, there is, I guess, they've got Hitman with Squeenix. They've got episode 3 that just came around, Marrakesh. Or no, that was episode 3, right? Yeah, Marrakesh. Episode 4, I guess they'll probably be revealing. I've been enjoying Hitman, honestly. Like, I kind of feel weird talking about it like every month or so because I feel like
AAA shill.
Yeah, I'm just being a marketing machine for Square Enix.
Hitman's good. Watch Dogs is good. I'm excited for Ubisoft.
I see all that developer money flowing out of your ears.
Cash money, baby.
I don't know why you're not mentioning the 4.5, the re-release of the PS4. That's supposed to be.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. That's
the same story as the Xbox redesign.
There's the big one. So it's actually been confirmed to exist. The PlayStation 4 Neo. That's the in-house term for it. So this is a direct quote from Andrew House, the president and chief executive at Sony, who said they are working on a high-end PS4. It is intended to sit alongside and complement the standard PS4. They'll be selling both versions through the life cycle of the console. He also said all games will support the standard PS4, and we anticipate all or a very large majority of games will also support the high-end PS4. It's really weird to me.
It's like an expansion pack, like the way you had for the N64. They're just sort of doing like a improved version of the same deal. They want to make it so you can have both.
Yeah. He also said that the high-end PS4, quote unquote, would be more expensive than the current PS4 at $350. Yeah. And that he's really not doing a good job of pitching us on this right now. He's saying not only will you have to buy something in addition to your PS4, but it's going to cost more than your PS4 cost initially. So there's
they're probably going to do some kind of thing with PSVR. Maybe the extra box that you need for the PSVR will end up not being necessary if you buy the 4.5. Somehow there's something that's got to offset the cost of one for the other. Right. Otherwise, I don't see the sales pitch, really.
Yeah, obviously at this point, again, we're speculating, but this is info that they provided us. I think it's interesting that he would go on record with this info in particular, right? Because he's got to know that A, it's going to circulate, and then B, like, it's really not that encouraging as an idea.
What would an updated PS4 have to provide for you to be excited about it? Because I feel like this announcement, they're not stupid people. They have to know that people are going to be like, well, I just bought my PS4 like 2 or 3 years ago, and now you want me to buy another one? Like, what? Surely they have something in mind to address those concerns, but I can't think of what it would be. But I'm interested to know what you guys would need.
Yeah, I am too, actually. It's the high-end PS4. We keep talking about that 4K display, actual 4K gaming, which we're still fairly convinced is sort of a pipe dream at this point. It just doesn't really seem like a possibility. Even if that were a part of it, though, that wouldn't really be a selling point for me. I wouldn't really be inclined to go with that, but obviously I'm not the target demo for that.
I think the answer that is attainable is they can hit 1080p 60 frames per second on PS4 games that already exist with patches, and they have said that they plan on doing exactly that. Even patching in new texture upgrades and things, or other methods of like higher anti-aliasing and things on games that already exist. So it will take a library you've already got and make it look and play better, hopefully.
I am also really just not that confident about a high-end PS4 in general anyway, just based on my experience with my PS4. Like, if you guys will remember back when I was talking about the Final Fantasy 15 demo that I tried out on my PS4, I had a really bad experience with that. I also had Firewatch on my PS4 that I played through entirely. That was a really laggy experience basically throughout. And I've just been sort of not pleased with the performance of the base PS4. So it's not garnering any confidence from me there, and it's really not getting me excited about buying a higher end one that may not perform as well as I'd like it to either.
To me, it seems very implausible that at $500 they could support 4K and 60 FPS and also the VR headset. Now there's probably like overlapping competencies there. Like if you can support the 4K, you probably have the hardware capable of supporting the VR as well, depending on what it runs with. But at $500, that's like way cheaper than you would get a PC that does it. To the point where I'm like, they wouldn't be selling at a loss. It would be like a catastrophic loss. Like,
yeah.
Do you guys have hardware capable of running 4K on your PC?
No.
I don't think
so.
I
don't think.
If I ran it, it would be at about 24 frames per second at best.
Do we know
When I
what
say
like
no,
the,
I mean like smooth 60. There's no way.
What's like the minimum spec for that? Do we know? It's just even as far as like maybe a graphics card is concerned.
I'd need more than the 980 Ti that I've got, and that's
what I
like
have
one
too,
of the better
980.
ones that are out there.
I think I've got like a 970, so yeah, I don't think any of us could do it.
It just seems like there must be something else that they've got going on that they're going to come out with, and maybe they think people are excited about it and they're not actually excited about it, and we'll be like shrugging our shoulders. But I don't know. For me, it just seems like I've not seen anybody being like, this is good news.
Yeah.
So
no, like hardly anyone. And again, it is very speculative at the moment, but this is the information they've chosen to share, and this is not exciting. So that's just like that. What we have to work from here is sort of discouraging, almost at this point.
I got to point out too that chat said about 100 times the 4K is apparently just for Blu-ray movies, not necessarily intended for games.
Yeah. Okay.
Which, again, if they're mentioning it without that context right with it, do that, please.
Right. So the Neo, we'll see more. I really hope we'll see more about that. Although it has been rumored as well that they won't be showing that at E3, so that's also discouraging. Yay! No,
maybe at Sony's conference, as long as they're making outlandish predictions.
Sure.
The next game from Software.
I was gonna say Bloodborne 2 or something.
Could be. Why not?
That'd be great.
They said they're not making a Souls game next, so this makes sense. The time is right for. It doesn't have to be in a Sony conference. Could be a PC, but for No Man's Sky to actually put a controller in somebody's hands on stage and have them walk around for like 10 or 15 minutes and do stuff.
Let it be playable, not
that'd
just
be
be
nice.
Marketing bullshit.
That would be.
Those videos are out there. There's many, many minutes of being played live.
Isn't
You
it
guys haven't
always-
seen those?
I mean, they have the gameplay videos. No, I've seen the gameplay videos, but I think like the actual E3, here's the finished product, or at least as close to it as we're gonna get before we actually start to release it. Right? It's.
I guess so.
I think there's a possibility, an opening for that to happen. I want to get back to it real quick because I don't know if I'm the only one. I'm really excited for Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, even back, I remember back in like 2014, the initial announcement for that got me back to 13-year-old. Holy fuck, I'm so excited about a game mode, right? That did it for me, man. I'm ready for an actual full-fledged new Kingdom Hearts game instead of a fucking remake or a mobile game or a fucking port or just like 2.96
I'm not a port of a mobile game
for final protrusion.
First of all,
I need less of those.
Final protrusion.
It's not called 6.8 something.
It's called Final
2.8.
2.8 Mix Hearts.
It's called Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue.
And you say that like it's better. Okay, I lost you all. Hold on.
Also ready for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay, great.
Oh, everybody's gone.
Yeah,
Hello?
I heard you say you're also excited for Kingdom Hearts 3, so I'm going to take that.
All right.
I'm going to run with it. That's Sony, I think, as well, right?
Oh yeah, Last Guardian. I'm sure that'll be there again.
Oh, fuck! How did I even...
Bear hates Last Guardian.
I am
Don't bring
so
that up. You're going to
pissed
get him pissed.
So mad.
Oh, so angry that it hasn't entered my life yet, actually. That's the fucking flip.
Where's the Shadow of the Colossus reboot, remake?
Where is...
Complete redo.
Where is my Shadow of the Colossus IV drip? Really?
With the extra 10 Colossi that they planned on adding that they never
They were
got
gonna
around
have
to
like
in the
50 of
original.
them in the game initially, man, and it was wild. They had, I was obsessed with the idea of there being a 17th Colossus too for a long time. They were.
You can find it. You just got to glitch out of the world.
Yeah, dude. You just got to get the cape.
Fuck.
You got to get
I don't know if that's true.
the superstar. You got to get
You
invincibility.
can go on top of the temple and get those fruits down, right?
Mhm. And they permanently
That was-
reduced your health if you got them.
Yay.
It was the best worst secret of all time, and it took like a hell of a lot of effort to get up there too. And then you get it there, and it's like, hey, here's this fruit that permanently reduces your HP. Congratulations, you're an asshole.
Also, I have one thing that I want to see more than anything. I don't know what category it would belong under, but Red Dead Redemption on PC. For the love of God, please make it.
I would love
Or at
that.
least
Or two.
RDR2.
I'll take two.
Yeah, I'll take RDR2 on the PC at the same fucking time.
That'd be pretty.
Oh,
awesome.
God, we're
Pay
gonna see that.
$60.
What was the
RDR2
last
is
thing
gonna-
Rockstar did? I mean,
GTA 5.
yes, but like, what have they been doing since then?
GTA
Apparently,
5.
like we're gonna see. Apparently we're gonna see RDR2 at E3.
What?
That is like the rumors going around is that Red Dead Redemption 2 is gonna be at E3, and I sincerely hope so.
I'd be
I
perfectly okay with that. Yeah.
loved
Still
Red
think
Dead
it's their
Redemption.
best series or best
I'm with
game.
you. I think Red Dead Redemption destroys GTA and like.
Man, okay, number one
I like
post
these
for
games.
Red Dead Redemption 2. Website I've never heard of. Website I've never heard of. Website I've never heard of.
What,
like
IGN?
30 websites. No, these are like I'm always skeptical of just before E3 because anybody can Photoshop anything and then be like, "Oh, I found this on an unencrypted server somewhere. It's Red Dead Redemption 2," you know. So I'm just wary about it right now.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not there, I'm not going to be upset because I mean, we don't have obviously any official announcements. But man, I hope it is because I want Red Dead Redemption 2.
It feels like the trajectory would put us in the right position that this is when it should happen or right around here.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and
excited
predict
for
it then. Red Dead Redemption 2, Sony, this
Everybody
year.
loves it. Do
It'd
it.
be a great idea. It would sell
yeah. I mean,
10 million
GTA 5
copies.
has had its time. You know, like it's still a great game. People still play it.
They did just
You'll
announce
see some GTA 5 expansions.
Well, they did just announce like a pretty massive expansion to GTA Online, didn't they? It's something like you
I have no
can
idea.
run your own massive crime conglomerate or something like that. You can buy all kinds of buildings now, and it's just this.
I need square footage to bike on. That's all I
You
care
do,
about.
yeah,
Give me
exactly.
another island.
Horseback
It's-
riding throughout the West. Do
You
it.
know, it's old enough to be plausible that they would come out with a Grand Theft Auto 6 or something like that, but maybe a little too early.
I think it's too early for GTA.
GTA 5 came out in
5 years.
2013. You think, but maybe they could start like teasing it a little bit, you know? Be like, hey, just so you know, in a year and a half, there might be a new Grand Theft Auto or something.
Yeah, why not? All right, there's Sony. That's good stuff. That's the whole of our E3 2016 predictions. If you missed any part of that, you can catch the VOD on YouTube or listen on iTunes or something. And we're gonna move into. Can we talk about Mirror's Edge Catalyst? You want to do that for a little bit? Sounds
You'd
good.
like?
Love that.
Sure.
You tell me about it again, Nick? I know you had a lukewarm experience. Do give me the rundown anyway.
I haven't played the final version of it, so that should be certainly noted. I played the beta, and I had some, like you said, some lukewarm reactions to it. I felt there was a bit too much forced combat, and in an effort to make the game more open world, which it is for the most part, they ended up having to fill it up with tons and tons of little mini games that don't really make it feel like a cohesive experience, in my opinion. The game still looks generally quite pretty. The aesthetic is still pretty much there, but the way they had to kind of bend what was pretty nicely done linear level design, I found that they kind of really undid the general point of the game, which was really fast-thinking adaptation to what was coming at you. And they also added like skill trees, so you don't have all your moves right away. You got to unlock them as you go.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
Forgettable characters and such. But I'm very curious to hear how this contrasts with Mathis's final opinions of the game now that it's out.
As am I.
I am 5 hours into the game I think so far. I generally agree with you, Nick, in that I so far I'm liking the game. I'm not loving the game, but I'm enjoying my time with it. I don't like the open world. I feel like it's forced. It doesn't feel needed or natural. It doesn't add anything.
So they can say it's open world.
Yeah, basically, like it's just filled with a bunch of nonsense things to collect, and there's a lot of things to just collect in the world. You are looking for little security boxes in the world to grab chips out of, and you're looking for little glowing yellow orbs in the sky to grab, and computer chips drip out of different looking boxes. The open world just feels pointless. There's some cool things about it, like you can come across people that are like, hey, runner, I need somebody to run this for me, and it's like a timed thing. I like that. That adds to it, because you do have to do that thinking on your feet, kind of like, all right, is this the best path? The actual like mechanics of the game, the platforming or whatever you call it, I can't think of the word. Free running, yeah, feels good. I like it. The other thing I have a weird complaint about, I guess it's not weird, but the combat in the game. I don't know why they felt the need to make it something necessary, because Mirror's Edge 1 was all about avoiding combat. Combat was shitty. You didn't want to fight. You just kind of ran. At worst, you would like maybe disarm a guard and then run. But this game, they specifically in main missions, lock you in rooms and be like, the elevator's coming. You got to fight off these guys until the elevator gets there. And now there's like wave after wave of guys that you have to fight. And it just doesn't, it's not Mirror's Edge. It just feels like you're trying to play some weird first-person brawler. And in that, Dying Light, in my opinion, does that way better.
The combat didn't feel like it had much impact, and for the most part, when you hit people, the majority of the time, you're trying to knock them in a certain direction to get them to fly off of stuff. Which is like, so why are we doing this? Just don't fight them then. But they don't give you that option.
And then there's... The other thing, the other complaint I have about the open world, outside of the fact that it feels unnecessary, is that the world itself is interesting in that it's this corporation-owned world. Everything is neat and tidy and clean and like perfect and pitch white. But if you put that kind of idea in an open world, everything gets monotonous looking and boring looking very quickly, because it's overly clean. It's overly pretty. It's unnecessary. It just, you get bored looking at the same thing over and over again, where in like the open world of Dying Light is grungy and there's a lot of zombies around and it's more fun to traverse, and it suits the open world better. So I just wish they had taken Mirror's Edge 1 and just take that idea of linear level design and just made a second one with it.
Yeah, I agree. For so much as they had such a good idea with making it open world, it just, the execution kind of just makes it fall apart. You only end up going through the same bunch of tracks, in my experience, a bunch of times, which defeats the whole point anyway. So I'd be much happier having a bunch of specifically designed linear levels that actually cater to your strengths and have the ability to follow an arc of getting easier to more difficult. In this case, they can't really design a difficulty level. It's just wherever you happen to be at the time.
I will say that the main story missions that lock you in these areas that are levels built for linear progression are great. Like, they're fun to traverse. They're built in a way that, you know, they have your platforming or free running in mind. When you're taken out of that open world, it gets better. But when you're back in that open world, it's not something I enjoy greatly. I'm still enjoying the game, but I'm not loving it.
It felt tedious to me in 2 hours, and that's a bad sign because the game felt like there was a lot more than that.
I think Dying Light is better, in my opinion. I had more fun with
That's a weird comparison, in my opinion. I feel like, well, maybe it's because it sounds like they've really changed the formula in so many different ways here in Catalyst that it almost doesn't feel like it's even comparable to the first game anymore so much.
It's not. Mirror's Edge is not comparable to Mirror's Edge to Catalyst. It's a reboot of the story and everything. They throw away the entire first game. The first game is non-existent.
So, I was also wondering, I apologize too, by the way, sorry for the viewers. I'm watching a storm roll in over my house right now, so that's that's about why we're dropping all kinds of frames here, so apologize for that. I'm curious, I wonder, because it's an open world and with just like the style of gameplay that Mirror's Edge is, or at least was in the first game, I feel like if you combine an open world with that, you get almost like a Spider-Man on the GameCube sort of feel, in that you're able to run around and free run and grab on everything and just explore this big open city, but it doesn't really feel like that, I guess.
No, because at least with the Spider-Man thing, you have the superhero thing going, where you have the civilians on the ground and they react to you, and you kind of like can get weird side missions and stuff like that, where this is such a sterile, monotonous-looking environment.
It's designed around primitives. It's all boxes and rectangles.
Yes. It's all just you don't ever go on the street level. It's all the whole open world is on the rooftops.
Because like the street level still kills you, right?
Yeah, you fall. I mean, you can't go down. You fall, you die. It's just a monotonous. Like, I think that's the best way I could describe it. Monotonous and sterile. There's no life in that world. It's not fun. You don't feel like you're having an impact. Where in Spider-Man, for instance, there are people, there's cars, there's things happening. Yeah. There's nothing happening in Catalyst in the world.
And just think about the idea of it being a sterile environment and then all of it being open, where everywhere you go, you're sort of seeing the same thing. There's nothing to give you a landmark perspective. So, like, imagine you were walking streets in New York City and you go through 5 of them, they all look identical, and then you get to Times Square. And you're like, oh, shit. I know where I am now. Yeah, then you're going back into the streets again and you don't know where you are.
Yeah.
So, that's the problem with it being sterile. It's a cool aesthetic, but in that context, it doesn't necessarily bolster the gameplay.
Yeah, I agree. The sterile world works in a linear, story-focused game. When you throw that person out into that world, you have to make it interesting. And if you don't, it just is as boring as it looks.
I am so surprised.
Like, this world kind of sucks, man.
I'm so surprised to hear that they made combat such a focal point, too. That just seems so backwards.
It's an unfortunate choice they made.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue why they would do that. They must simply not understand what makes the game good, if that was their focus.
Man, I feel weird asking this question. It was the same developer, right, that made Catalyst? Or was it a different one?
This is DICE that made Catalyst. I don't know, did DICE make the first one?
I couldn't tell you, but let's find out live on the internet right now.
But it's gorgeous. It uses the Frostbite engine. I mean, the game is beautiful.
The original was made by DICE. Yeah, okay. So that's just straight up shocking.
They got told to do that. I can't imagine they wanted to do that.
That's what I feel like. I feel like maybe he was like, open worlds are the thing. Like, do open world. But it's just...
Wait, the original Mirror's Edge didn't have combat, so here's what I think we need. Oh, this is
like... It did.
It's no, it did. I know it did, but like it wasn't... You didn't focus on the combat at all. It was like not what you were trying to... That was not why you played Mirror's Edge, was not for the combat, right? Or
it was to avoid the combat.
So, like, it just seems like it was just the easiest boardroom decision of all time. It's like, okay, well, here's a new IP that we had. It was fairly successful, but I think I see the problem here. You see, the kids these days, they like violence. And you don't have any violence in this game. It's all about running around. That doesn't make any sense. Throw some punching in there. Let's get some kids beating on soldiers. They'll sell copies. That's my boardroom guy voice.
It's a shame, because, again, people wanted more Mirror's Edge because they enjoyed the first Mirror's Edge.
Yeah.
Why change it so drastically? It sucks.
Yeah.
It's not as simple, but it does raise the question in my head, at least, of like, well, if you're gonna make it bad, why'd you make it? Like,
Yeah,
I know that
weird.
it's not easy to just be like, just make it good. But like, it sucks that this was like a rumor for like 3 years, and then it got confirmed, and people were stoked. They were like, oh shit, Mirror's Edge 2.
Yeah.
And then when it came out, people now, I think it just kind of like came out with a whimper, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
it wasn't-
didn't
that
even
was the
realize that it was dropping until
there
like,
was no
it was on the
marketing.
docket.
Yeah,
There was
there
no
was
marketing at
little to
all.
no marketing. Yeah, which probably.
So it sounds like they know it's not that great, and they didn't want to overplay it.
It is really just so weird now. Just like Ryan said, it's the kind of thing where people enjoyed it. You know, like it was kind of a diamond in the rough. It didn't sell incredibly well, but I think critically it was pretty well received. I think a lot of people consider it one of their favorite, just sort of foregone weird games that came and went, right? But to make a second one, I think you gotta commit pretty heavily to that at least, and not only try to market it, try to sell it, but commit to the source material too. But there's just a lot of really interesting decisions here.
It just throws me off too that the world is so filled with just random fucking collectibles.
Yeah.
The world is broken up into zones. It's a big open world, but you go from zone to zone. Every time you go into a new zone, it shows a list of all the fucking things you need to collect to get 100% in that zone. I'm like, that
It's
is
so
not why I want to
artificial,
play this
man.
game.
Yeah,
why?
no.
Like, yeah,
Don't
there's nothing to
Assassin's
spend
Creed
them
it.
on or anything. It's just collecting all the stuff just gives you experience to unlock more things in your trees, in your talent trees.
They
I
had
would
to
say that
legitimize why that space existed, so they had to put stuff in it. Is kind of why I think they did that.
Why is it okay in Crackdown 1 though?
Crackdown 1 is a different game from a way different era. Crackdown 1 came out today the same way. I think people would be shitting on it for being like, it's a fucking collect-a-fest. It's boring.
I don't know about that. I don't think
I do.
Crackdown and this are even necessarily comparable. I feel like Crackdown was an entirely
fair
different
question.
sort of game. I think it was. I think it was like, well, this is a sequel to a linear runner, right? So
Right.
I think like inherently we have to expect that it's going to retain most of the elements of that. Which, I mean, like, to be fair, it did. It is more or less the same sort of game, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, at the same time, too, with Crackdown, you can always say the moment-to-moment gameplay of Crackdown was way more interesting than moment-to-moment gameplay of open-world Mirror's Edge. Because you can just pull a Hulk and just start wreaking havoc on the world for no good reason. Because you're a super soldier who can pick up cars and throw them. You can't do that in Mirror's Edge. You're just going from point A to point B from next mission to next mission.
Yeah, like there's not really a lot to do as just Faith in Mirror's Edge, but as a character in Crackdown, like Mathis said, you have like shit that you can actually perform and you know, ways to interact with the world. But
Closer to the ideal of a sandbox game, whereas this is more just like an open world game that isn't necessarily a sandbox because all you do is run through it. And they use the pickups in Crackdown to sort of help you explore areas you never would have thought to look for in the first place, whereas in Mirror's Edge, you kind of have to go out of your way not to see all the areas there are. How can they really hide things in that? It's pretty open. Like you just see
nothing
it all.
that they've put in Mirror's Edge is hidden, and when you get close, it marks it right on your HUD. It's like, oh, there's a collectible over here.
It's
You're like,
a
oh,
foregone
okay.
conclusion that there's collectibles within your reach all the time.
yeah. All right. Well, I mean,
We gotta stop Ryan from memeing up chat.
What are you talking about?
So you guys would probably still. I don't know, Nick. It doesn't really sound like you enjoyed it too much. You wouldn't. Well, okay. Recommend or not recommend? I think let's get it down to brass tacks here.
Me?
I almost don't even know because, like, the fact that it's a different game from Mirror's Edge 1 means you can't even say, well, if you liked Mirror's Edge 1, you're just sort of going in blind.
Yeah.
I didn't think that the quality was recommendable personally, but I wouldn't bash people that like it.
Yeah. All right.
I would recommend it on a sale. Wait
Fair
for it to
enough.
go on sale. Then I'd say if it's like $30, I think it's worth 30. I think it's fun. But who knows? Again, it's an individual taste thing, obviously.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Let's head over to Dead by Daylight real quick.
Yeah. I like this game.
Ryan, you want to tell me about Dead
Ryan, for all the people who haven't played, could you explain
how
to
would
us
you
what
define
Dead by Daylight is?
I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. Dead by Daylight is an asymmetrical multiplayer game for 5 people where one of them plays as a killer, 4 of them play as survivors in a self-contained arena. The goal of these survivors is to fix 5 generators, which they do by spending time at them and succeeding in quick-time events, and then opening the door to escape. The killer gets some audio prompts when people mess up and whenever they complete certain objectives and tries to hunt them down, slashes them, puts them on a meat hook, and then, defends them while other people try to rescue them. That's basically it. The killer wins if they kill 1 or more people, and the survivors win if 1 or more of them escape, basically.
Or
it's
kind of
like
smart survivor, you leave the person on the hook and continue your day.
Yes, or if you're Dan Giesling, you just shadow other survivors and stand right behind them and then sprint and give away everybody's position and
Jesus Christ. It's a great game. I really am enjoying Dead by Daylight. I'm excited for it to come out for the other killers and stuff. It is giving me the itch to play more Damned though and I just wish Damned wasn't so fucking broken all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that same complaint kind of goes to the beta in this too. It's pretty broken as well.
It works better than Damned though. For the most part.
For sure it does. This is playable when you get together.
It's really fun. It needs more, and apparently that's coming when it actually releases. But I played 4 or 5 hours, and it's actually holding my interest, which is pretty nice. And there's a surprising amount of nuance to learn, even though you only have 2 different ways you can interact with things. You get these exciting moments where basically you're just crouching behind stuff, trying to kite the killer around. Make sure that you break line of sight with him, which is really cool. But yeah, it's good stuff for the most part. I'm looking forward to more killers and hopefully a robust online community of people that'll actually work together. But in general, I'm just I'm a sucker for asymmetrical stuff. So I'm glad that there's more of it because it's easy to play and it's nice on the NLSS as well to have that dynamic where 1 against 4 or however many they can do.
Or if you're just Dan, if you're 2 against 3, if you're Dan.
Yeah, right.
He's working for the killer.
How balanced does it feel? Because I kind of feel like a lot of the killers have gotten to be almost unbeatably good. Does that feel the same to you guys?
I've heard that. I've heard that once the killer gets better faster than the survivors get better, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's self-balanced with who you play with. If somebody... when we were playing today, Mathis is more experienced as the killer, and he was tearing it up. We're literally does he know where we are at all times? Are we just showing up on his map? But then... when somebody who's less experienced plays as the killer, it seems a little bit more like the survivors almost have too much of an advantage. We've had that experience where you've been the killer, and you're well, there's 4 of them, and they only need 1 person to fix all 5 generators, so, how is this even fair for me? But it's definitely, it tends to balance itself, I think. If you're a really good killer and the rest of your group sucks, you should let them be the killer. You should just be a survivor for a while instead.
By the same token, I never was frustrated by it either. Even when I was getting beaten as a survivor, I didn't feel like I had no control over it. I was just in a bad situation a few times. I still felt like it was my fault when I lost ultimately. So the game feels fair, even if you die a lot.
Yeah. It's a more horror-y version of Evolve, basically. Evolve was scary at times, but they kind of compromised that when you have the fight at the end with the monster and everybody's just unloading on it, even though I still think that Evolve is conceptually really cool. But this is a little smaller and a little more tightly focused on the horror elements, which makes it, I think, more of a fun experience.
Right on.
It's also just fun to play with friends since we all know each other and we're all just having this little dynamic moment of people clustering together, people running away scared. Everybody's got something going on.
Just look for Dan and you'll find everybody else.
And that's the other thing is there's betrayals sometimes. There's moments of banter that get really fun. And, that by itself is sort of a part of the experience. And it's a lot of fun just to have those kind of moments with your friends.
There's a lot of little nuances to the maps that you slowly start to learn too. That even though the game is relatively simple, what makes it more interesting and complicated, like the crows around the map can give away your position just by them flying off.
Oh, that's cool.
One thing I noticed today is the killer. Now I'm not sure if it was just happenstance and I got lucky, but I was looking at the generators, and when a generator was being fixed in the distance, I could see lights on like dimly flickering on the generator.
Yeah, that is a thing.
So I was like, oh, okay, that generator is being fucked with. Even if you didn't fuck it up, if I catch it with my eye, it's like, okay, I'm gonna head that way. Seeing a survivor think they're being sneaky, and then cutting them off around the path. Like, there's just a lot of fun little things you can do in the game. When they think they're getting through a window, you grab their leg and rip them out. That's fun.
Yeah.
Man, it's so off-putting to see like kids being hung on meat hooks, dude. Like, I
Yeah,
can't
They're
watch it.
teenagers, all right?
Yeah, I guess, but still, it's like, oh
It's very
man,
violent, for
it's
sure.
very disturbing.
You can put a bear trap underneath them, and
Yeah, God. Well, I mean, like that isn't even that bad. I can deal with a bear trap. It's just like to watch this.
No, you can't.
Watch this Jason Voorhees guy. Okay, no, I probably couldn't deal with a bear trap. You're right. Yeah, just the whole sequence is very, very off-putting for me. It does look
The
fun,
problem right now is that we have like an older version of the game for beta, and it's pretty busted. Like, it's very unstable. Is known bugs that can cause crashes, which effectively crashes 5 people's games simultaneously if one person gets kicked out.
yeah.
But apparently it's an outdated version, and the one that they're actually working on is much further along. So
I'm curious to know what the differences between the 3 killers are going to be. Like, what is going to set them apart and make one killer better in a particular situation than another?
I would love
Movement
to
style.
see like a fucking super fast killer, man. Like you can't. Maybe you.
I want a ghost.
Oh,
I
that'd be
thought there
cool,
was a
too.
ghost. I don't know why I
Yeah,
thought this,
I
but I
thought
thought I
was-
saw a picture of a ghost.
I thought there was one that's invisible. Yeah.
Oh,
or
that-
one
that-
that can go invisible, something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because right now, like the Jason Voorhees guys, like he's faster than the teenagers, but not by much. He's just lumbering and plotting, and
he's just sort of
when
a
he-
stereotypical serial killer type dude.
like an 80s or 70s slasher
yeah
villain,
yeah. So
and who's
Well, he's certainly
constantly
supposed to
obsessed
evoke
with the
Jason.
hygiene of his own sword.
Yeah, he's got to wipe
He's
the
gotta
blood off
wipe
his sword
it.
after you. It's obviously to give somebody a chance to get a second chance at running away.
yeah.
Like, that's why they put that in. It's for balancing reasons. But when you're the killer, he stops after he slashes someone to wipe the blood off. And you're like, why are you doing
sleeve
it,
of
man?
his
He's
shirt,
right there.
man, like it can't be
Yeah.
that clean anymore. He keeps wiping it off in the same area. Shit's gonna get infected.
Oh, shit, what if there was one like The Thing where you could disguise yourself as a survivor?
Oh, I love that idea. Yeah, that would be great.
That would be awesome. I'm not entirely sure I like the idea. This is a minor nitpick, but the survivors are all in third person. I get that they kind of need that advantage, but I feel like
Yeah.
it takes away a little bit from the horror element and gives you a little bit too
Yeah.
much. Maybe like give them a wider FOV or something, because the killer's FOV is really, really tiny and you can't change it.
Yeah.
But I don't know because I take that from Damned, where everything is in first person, and Damned, I really like that idea of first person because it can add more tension to the game. But on the flip side, I understand for balancing purposes, it's important to give them an awareness that the killer doesn't necessarily have.
It didn't bother me personally. I'm fine with it.
Like I said, it's a nitpick, but
All right.
I really like those elements though, where like you're crouching behind a box and you can like watch the killer go by because of the over-the-shoulder camera, so that you know when it's like okay to poke out. But I can understand it would be scarier to actually like be behind the box and just have to look at the box and wait for like your heartbeat to calm down or something like that. Or like be in the closet and only be able to see like a little
peek
slit
crack,
out of the
that'd be fun. But at third person gives you the advantage of like, oh, the killer's coming because I blew up my machine. Hang on, there's Dan running. He'll be seen. Okay, yep, there goes Dan. All right, I get to continue.
Do you guys find the game legit super like scary, or is
It's tense for me. It's not
Tense.
scary, but it's like when I'm a survivor, it's typically pretty tense.
I'm curious
I don't
to
think
know
I've
what
ever
like this
screamed.
consensus is about that, because
I really enjoy being the killer, though.
It's
Yeah, it's
hard
fun.
to think of a multiplayer game as being actually, like horror game scary, isn't it? Just because you're there with other people. It's like I
Right.
don't know, it's like going to see a scary movie in theaters. Like it's a lot less intimidating when you're experiencing it as a group, I think.
if the person playing the killer stays pretty quiet and doesn't really announce where he is and doesn't really talk much, I think that can add a little bit of horror because then you'll just appear without really being like part of the banter. So it can catch you guys off guard mid-banter, just scare the crap out of you. But
if he talks like this,
exactly.
It might be fun if there was like a cooldown move you could do that would like shock someone. Like if it had like a minor AoE, and if you're standing near them and they don't see you, you could scare them, and that would give you like a second to sneak up on them better.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Maybe that's part of one of the monster designs. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the three new monster designs in a couple days.
Me too. All right.
It's a small game too, but like I'm kind of over the QuickTime events for everything. Like,
oh yeah, man.
Some other kind of QuickTime events would be good, like not just the like wheel that spins around and you got to stop it in the right spot.
Well, you get to mash spacebar.
When do you get to? Oh,
sucks.
when you're that one's the
trying to
worst
escape.
actually. When you're trying to survive.
Yep.
Yeah, that you turned into. But yeah, I agree with you. All right, Dead by Daylight. It's coming out June 14th, so not quite available yet. A few days away. It's currently on pre-purchase sale for $17.99. It's 10% off. You can normally get it for $20. And let's see here. I think let's talk about Gone Home right now. Let's do it. So, the PlayStation Plus free games for this month, if you are a subscriber and you're curious, are NBA 2K16, which I played and immediately remembered why I stopped because I get way too mad at that game. But Gone Home was the other one, and Wife Taffy and I actually picked it up and played through it. So I had played Gone Home back when it was first released, and there was a ton of buzz for this game, like just huge amounts of buzz. Everyone was playing Gone Home. Everyone was talking about how you gotta play Gone Home. It's hugely important, like a great story, incredible characters, all this stuff. And I played through it. It took about like an hour and a half or 2 hours to play through the whole thing the first time I played it, and that was a little underwhelming. And I also just sort of didn't really connect with it. And if you've played the game, I think that it's not a game for me as a person particularly. Like it does not reflect my lifestyle, so it didn't really hit me. But I can see easily how it can impact quite a few people pretty strongly. I think upon the second playthrough, though, I actually appreciated it a lot more. It was a lot easier to also not be playing and to watch somebody else play it as well, because then I was just like almost 100% focused on the story, on what was actually going on. We can probably spoil it now, right? I think it's been like 3 years. We can probably talk about Gone Home pretty definitively.
I hope so, yeah.
So well, hold on. Let me put my spoiler banners up then. Let's be proper about it. Spoiler warning. All right. If you've not played Gone Home yet, we'll talk about it now, I guess. So the story is you come home. You arrive after a year-long trip to Europe to find out that your family is gone, and well, they're not gone. They went on a little trip, and your sister has taken off with her lesbian romantic lover, and they did a great job, I think, of telling this whole story. I loved the narrative. I loved the voice acting, and the actual game, though. I still, while I wholeheartedly appreciate it, I think as I mentioned, the story is great. I was a little still just kind of disappointed by the complete experience, because I still think it's over too quick. And while that's such a basic complaint, it just, I can't get away from it, It's probably the biggest argument made against Gone Home is that it's got that $20 price tag for 2 hours basically of gameplay time. It's also not replayable hardly at all. And I played it twice, but that was really only to get the achievement that you can beat it 60 seconds in. But I don't know. So you guys all played Gone Home then, right? I think all four of us did.
Yep.
I loved it.
Yeah, so go ahead and take me through your experience with it then.
Well, my experience was, and you kind of cut right to the chase of just kind of saying the ending, but the whole game is essentially framing what happened and why no one's at your house.
Yeah.
And the whole premise is that you're going and contextually discovering all the items in the house. There's a lot of exposition, there's voiceover work explaining why this item has significance, or, basically doing all the clue uncovering yourself as you walk through all the rooms in the house. And it's a pretty big house. It takes you a few minutes to understand what's going on. In addition to being a big house, it's also got some secret rooms, and there's like a whole other area that you go around and come out another side and loops back around in kind of a creative and weird way. And since you don't understand what you're even doing in the game, like you don't understand what the point of the game is going to be, the whole thing feels sort of like this dynamic, weird story that it's sort of like how I felt with Firewatch. Right? Like, you just don't know what is this meant to be by the end. What is the point of this story going to be? And it doesn't have, like, a telegraphing moment early on where it's like, oh, well, I see because of this, I'm going to put the points together, and there's the ending. I spoiled it for myself. I never got that feeling. It all came together for me as I went, and it was very sweetly done with a lot of character, with a lot of warmth, and in a very humanizing way, and in a way that I hadn't really seen a lot of narrative-driven games really portrayed. And I felt it was very touching. I thought the story was put together well, and the graphics were beautiful. The whole experience for me was just like really nicely polished. So I really didn't mind the $20 price tag, and I also played through it twice myself too.
I on that same note, I do want to agree with you and say that I think the way that they presented it was pretty damn good, because, well, I thought it was funny too, because when Wife Dad was playing it, she actually was so convinced that it was a horror game for like the first 25 minutes because, you know, it's like it's all dark and you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
I think that's probably pretty deliberate too.
They did it on purpose.
Yeah.
That is what makes the game actually kind of hit, I think, because you spend like 80% of the experience waiting for like the other shoe to drop and the ghost of like your grandfather to come and kidnap you or something like that. And by the time you figure out that that's not actually what's happening, you've gone through the stuff that if they put it on the back of the box, you never would have picked up the game to begin with for most people. And you care about the characters, and as a result, you know, the ending has some heft, I think, if you go into it with the kind of with goodwill, I guess, or you go into it in good faith, I guess. So yeah, I liked it a lot as well. And if it had been built, here's the thing: is that I think for most of us, at least Nick and I, we played through Gone Home when everybody thought it was a horror game.
I did
So
too.
like,
It's around the same time.
finishing it for the first time and then being like, oh, so this is like not what this game is about at all. We weren't coming in the way that other people are coming in later, like knowing it's a walking simulator, knowing it's about like, you know, young gay love, basically. So yeah, no, I actually think it was really good at the time. I haven't played it through since. I kind of like had that experience, but sure, there's something to be said about the fact that it's $20 for 2 hours is another issue in games. You know, I mean, I'm paying $20 for like 1 hour VR experiences as well right now.
And like,
so.
I didn't want to start like making those comparisons of what's worth $20 and all that. I still can't not say it though. I would feel disingenuous because I actually kind of feel like this is one of the very, very few instances where I personally kind of felt like, okay, yeah, that was maybe a little too short. I would have liked for this to go on a little bit longer. Mathis?
No, I sit with Ryan and Nick, I think, because I played at the same time as they did, where we didn't know anything about the game. We didn't know if it was going to be a horror game or not. That it just hit harder for me. And it hits me, I think that game, you know, I'm a little biased. It hits me particularly hard just because my brother is gay and I know a lot of the stuff that we went through as kids and what he had to go through. So kind of living that, I mean, not that that story is the same, but a lot of the stuff that story tells.
Right.
Maybe a little bit more biased on that, but
it's
I
very
really
personal.
Yeah,
like the way that they depict it, it's very intimate, and it's very careful about the word and the language that they use in this situation. And I felt for her so much in that the story was just presented so well.
Yeah.
So the quality, I couldn't have asked for much more. Sure, maybe it could have been longer, but honestly, I felt like it was just about the right length to keep my attention, with a nice arc that felt like it was starting to a middle and then resolving.
You know,
and there was a little bit of stuff to the side too.
Yeah.
So
no, that's a good point. I hadn't considered that. You know, like they wrap it up very nicely, and it feels right when it ends. But I don't know. I think it maybe the more I think about it, it is just sort of a superficial argument for me to say like, well, I mean, $20, but Yeah, there's not a lot of meat and potatoes to that discussion, I guess. But yeah, I think. Well, I mean, I can say for Wife Taffy too. She definitely enjoyed it. She loved the story. She thought the voiceover was terrific, which I do want to echo again. It was. I think it made the game. To be honest, like I feel like if they didn't have those two people portraying the sisters, they were just so critical to that going so.
They had another Delilah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so there's Gone Home.
You know what I like? What I like about Gone Home years after release here is the fact that I think it's kind of legitimized more games like that existing. Like I don't know if you have like a Firewatch if Gone Home doesn't come out and do relatively well. And even though it's annoying that every time it gets brought up, people like it's like a shorthand joke for people that don't like walking simulators at all, which I think is just lazy. But you're entitled to your opinion. I like that it has kind of brought those games out of the shadows a little bit. Anybody who thinks that like those games are taking over, go check out Steam new releases every day for like a week, and you'll see like half of a walking simulator and like 10 tower defense games. Yeah. So like, if you're worried about shit ruining the industry, is not your Gone Homes and your Dear Esther's and stuff like that. But I like that it is kind of, I think it's galvanized people in this kind of like games as experiences category. And there's no reason you can't like fluidly go back and forth between one and the other. Like Nick really liked Gone Home. Nick really liked Doom, right? Like you can fit into both camps. Yeah. And for me personally, I think that it kind of legitimized that for me as well. It was the first walking simulator that I was actually like, I like this game as an experience, as a game. Sure, is there a failure condition? No, I don't necessarily buy into that being like the taxonomical definition of what makes a game anyway. But yeah, I think I got my point across.
Sure.
There's also good and bad in pretty much any genre, and if I was to point to the best of the walking simulators, even though I feel it's a bit derisive to use that term,
yeah, I'd agree.
I would say Gone Home and maybe The Beginner's Guide are the ones that I would say you should maybe look into. They're like, I don't know, there's something about them, there's just so much empathy in them that I don't feel in so many other things. It's more about the story, it's more about a human connection than it is about a gamified concept.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Not everybody is, and that's fine if you're not. But for the people that really do feel something for those, I love this genre. I hope it never goes away, and I'm glad that somebody came out to really legitimize it that way. Dear Esther didn't quite get the job done, although it's laid the groundwork. I think Gone Home finished it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at Dear Esther as like the quintessential walking simulator, and I think it's sort of a bad example for it because, like, Nick, I agree with you in that. I sort of feel like these are better served as venues for personal introspection rather than like just a delivery of generic poetry or just like a story being told through a path. Like Dear Esther, while it was, well, honestly, I didn't even really enjoy Dear Esther that much. I played through the whole thing and I was just like, okay, that was pretty. That was a thing. But with Gone Home and with I didn't actually even like The Beginner's Guide that much either, but with Firewatch at least, I really did invest myself pretty thoroughly into these stories, and it does a great job of providing you the best medium by which to experience it.
Firewatch is interesting because we praise Gone Home for throwing you for a loop and making you think it's a horror game when it's not. And Firewatch tries to make you think it's like a sci-fi thriller when it's not, but people lambast it for that.
Oh, because they went in too many different directions.
I was gonna say
it's fragmented.
It's weird that they kind of took that inspiration, kind of I feel like went way too far, but tried to imitate what Gone Home did in a weird way.
Yeah. And I kind of like
that. I never made that connection.
Just, throw this thought.
Yeah.
Throwing it out there.
Cool.
I don't know what it is. Like, for whatever reason, in Gone Home, I can't quite remember how the story beats happen. Before you get to the true ending, is there a moment that is like, it's definitely, there's no ghost?
Yeah.
Like, is there a moment like...
There's a point where you pick up one of the journals or like one of the audio clues that you trigger for Sam to start talking to you. And then it becomes very clear that she's talking about like having a romantic involvement with this other girl, and then you're like, okay, well, there's not really anything else going on here, huh? So, not that that's a bad thing. I mean, like, that begins to turn your head toward, oh, well, this is where we're actually going. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just subtle enough that there's the possibility you could have said, oh, well, maybe I just imagined that, at least for me. Like, yeah, okay, sure. They made it sort of obvious, but at the same time, it wasn't like they beat you over the head with it 1,000 times.
No, yeah, they didn't. I mean, it's not... I think, yeah, it's hard to say whether or not it is a solid
pulled away
point.
from that with enough left to finish the story so it wasn't on your mind anymore.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they misdirected you right to the end. It was like halfway through, they give you that resolution, and then you can focus on the actual story up until the end point.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. All right. Yeah, that's Gone Home. That was fun. I like talking about these old ones, man, because this was before Roundtable time. This was before we even got to do our end of 2013.
2013.
End of 2014 discussion. So that's good. If you want to get Gone Home, it's available for $20. We're on Steam right now. And that's going to bring us into the end of the spoiler warning tags and the beginning of everybody's favorite segment. It's Ask Roundtable. Hooray! Every week.
Hooray.
Yeah, you give me a little enthusiasm. Jesus Christ.
Hooray!
You can send emails every week to roundtableyt@gmail.com. Today's question comes from Brogan, who asks, if you were making a game, what kind of game would it be? And what unusual or interesting design decisions do you think you might make? So let me save us all from having to come up with individual games ourselves. Let's pool this into a collective effort. So,
Oh no.
what game?
This is not going to end
What
well.
This is going to be
game
that
is
Reddit
Roundtable
thread
gonna
that we
make?
see. This is going to be that Reddit thread we see every 6 months of like, well, why don't they just combine this game and this
Yeah.
game and elements of this
Yeah.
game? We'd have the perfect game.
Science-based dragon.
Dragon.
MMO.
All right.
MMO,
So what's
yeah.
hot right now? We got the MOSAs. Those are killing it. I think the card games are coming back in full force. We're gonna have Gwent rolling around now. We got Hearthstone obviously dominating that, right? So where's the natural MOSA collectible card game fusion? Where does that happen? We need a setting, I think, to start off.
Already
Why don't we
happened.
focus on how we'll monetize it first? Because that's what's really important.
That is the critical element, yeah.
Let's start with maybe $4.99 to unlock heroes,
Okay.
and we'll form it around that.
I think that sounds
Okay, so-
good.
Are we saying like it's going to be it's a CCG,
Leave.
all right? But it's also a MOBA. So you're fighting, minions and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But in order to fight another hero, the minute you like right click on them, you challenge them to a card duel.
Yeah,
And then you go
like
into
Pokemon
a card
style.
fight, and then you do like a Hearthstone round. Whoever wins that lives, the other one dies, and they can continue their push on their lane.
Okay. We can
There you
go
go.
with that. That's a quirky new feature. Where does this take place? This is the world of
Warcraft.
Warcraft. Oh, great idea.
We'll just license it. No big deal. We'll make it in Unity because that's what you do. You just check the boxes.
Yeah, no,
Oh, so there's
that's
got to be
one.
survival game elements if it's going
We'll
to be.
do
in Unity.
local only, no online.
You have to craft your cards from like natural materials. So
Okay, wood,
Yeah.
stone, copper, iron, diamond,
you need like the rare gems
Gold,
in order to craft the best
lapis,
cards.
ruby,
Uh-huh.
emerald, sapphire.
And the most precious gems ever introduced in one collectible card game, MOSA, of all time. I think we got a
Where are
winner.
we going with this?
I think we got a winner. What do we call it? Watch Dogs 2. Lost in San Francisco.
Done.
Done.
We
Ryan,
sell statuettes based on
Ryan,
the
you
heroes.
haven't said anything, Ryan.
Ryan.
It's on the
This is
bed.
Ask Roundtable. This is one of
Ryan,
our viewers
shit
asked
don't
this
fall.
question.
I almost died.
All right. That's a good name for the game. I almost died. I like that. Okay. We have a new collectible card game multiplayer online shooter arena called I Almost Died, wherein you craft your own collectible cards using natural resources found in the arena. And in order to fight anyone, you have to challenge them to a card duel. And if you win, you get to kill their minions.
And every time you
Push
play,
lanes.
the map is different, just like a roguelite, so Ryan would enjoy it.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, we cover all our bases
So-
there.
It goes from resources to cards, cards to pushing towers,
Uh-huh.
towers to killing the enemy.
We have everything.
Yeah.
We got a little tower defense in there, too.
This is good shit.
No one's going to be
As
able to
much-
resist. Oh, no. Hold on. I lost everybody a second there. Oh, no. Oh, no. We're all gone. Earl gone permanently. Oh my God, what is happening?
Hello.
Hi, hey, how's it going?
Hello.
Hey, we're back.
Hey, everybody, what's up?
You were gonna start on something
me.
there, Ryan.
Yeah, before we were taken away from one another. I was gonna say, my dream game is like, I don't even have to say it's like Isaac anymore. It's like Dead by Daylight. It's mechanics driven, replayable, and the sessions are short, like 10 to 30-minute sessions. Even.
Oh God! All right. Well, we got half of it. We got half of his idea. Oh man, I think this is beginning to indicate that it's time to hang up the call here. Good God! Come on, Skype. You can do it. You can do it. Look, it's just me. It's just me in a show. Oh, how fun! Look at Bear. Look at Bear with his Roundtable Live crew. Oh boy.
So let's push to the end here.
Yep. Let's see if we can do Nick's Weird Games. I desperately want to try. I want to work that in here. Thank you very much for the question, Brogan. We apologize that it was not able to be sufficiently
Did we
answered.
even answer it?
We did. We made a
did our
game.
best.
We made a game
We did
called
the
I
best.
Almost Died.
That was such a horrible answer.
I thought it was a great answer. I thought it was exactly what he wanted.
Heroes never die.
Heroes
All
never
right.
die.
So, Nick's Weird Games.
Nick's
time,
Weird
right?
Games. If I
Before we lose the call again.
If I dare swap to the live feed here, I'm terrified that we're gonna reveal everyone's secret personal info
don't
again.
do it.
All right.
Don't do it then. All right, song. Since we're having such technical difficulties, why don't we do some Daft Punk? Like
Ooh, I
up
like
all
that.
night
Yeah,
again.
for Nick's Weird Games, that sounds good.
Yeah.
It's Nick's Weird Games, it's Nick's Weird Games. It's Nick's Weird Games, it's Nick's Weird... I'm not just going to
This
do
is
that.
Daft Punk.
Like, wow, that's
All right.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, man. What you
I
got?
got a game.
It's already right there.
It's Nick's Weird Games time. If you have never played Nick's Weird Games with us before, every week Nick goes and grabs a weird game from his catalog of tons of weird games, and we try to guess what it is based on clues he provides. So you can play along in the chat.
All right. I'm lobbing a softball over the plate for you guys
Yeah.
because we've
Oh.
had, I think, a good 10 or 12 consecutive
Hang on, let's hide
losses.
chat.
Good.
All right.
All right, I'm good.
Today's game is for PlayStation 3.
What?
Can
like
you
it
imagine
already.
a world? Okay. 2009.
Oh,
action
God.
RPG.
Yeah.
Developed
Demon
by
Souls.
Silicon Studios.
Too human.
The game features a unique style, presenting 2D retro-style graphics in a 3D environment.
It's Beautiful Joe.
It's Beautiful Joe, isn't it?
It's
It came out
the
GameCube in
PS3.
2004.
Beautiful Joe 2.
Oh, I gotta close chat here. I didn't see it though.
Chat.
All right, keep it
I
up.
just saw holy shit.
All right, developers are From Software and Silicon Studio.
Fucking From Software, man.
It's not Demon Souls though.
Now Demon Souls. Published by Atlas.
And is it an armored front mission core? Suikoden 3.
I gotta stop saying no, it's not things because then you're just gonna run the gauntlet until you get the right one.
Is that not a valid, like, solution to our problem?
Yeah, don't do us
Humble.
any favors.
You can give me some guesses, but if you're just like yes
Is
or
it,
no, is it all of these games?
Okay, hang on. You said it's 2D art in a 3D world. So does it look pixel arty? Is that what you're saying?
Kinda, yeah.
Are we looking like? Oh, I think I'm on the right track. I think I know. Oh, fuck. Does it look like Cube World almost?
I can't answer all these questions.
Yes,
You gotta
yeah.
know what it is.
Oh, fuck. Fuck. I know the game. I saw this game. I played this game.
I guarantee you've all seen this before.
Oh, shit. I could picture it in my head.
Return to the golden age of gaming and embark on a nostalgia-laden pixel hero's quest across vast 3D landscapes and mysterious dungeons to save Dotnia from the legendary evil.
Dotnia.
If you don't get it from that,
no.
Is it 3D Dot Heroes?
Yeah, that's what's
Yes.
called 3D Dot Heroes. That's the game I was thinking
Nice.
of. Yes.
Hey, look at us.
it's actually technically 3D Dot Game Heroes, but close enough.
Oh, that'll
You already
work.
said
That, yeah, it looks like Cube World. Yes. That's exactly the game I was thinking
Well
of.
done.
Good job, Brian. Good job.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't.
Way to go,
They basically
team.
just recreated like a Zelda overworld in voxels, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah, this came out for like Xbox Live indie games, but it might have been like a total like unlicensed recreation of it.
It must have been either a prototype or something after the fact, because I thought this was exclusive only on PS3.
I thought it was a PS3 thing only too.
Looks like
I'm pretty sure that they just ripped it off.
Looks like Sesk in the chat was the first one to get that one, or Sesku, Sesquay,
Seski,
Seski, something like that.
Sesk.
Thank you. Or congrats. Well done. Good job. Okay.
3D Dot Game Heroes is a terrible name for a game.
That is a
by
bad
the way.
name.
Yeah, it was extremely hard to remember the name of it after.
All right. Well,
Good game.
we did it, man. We got another one.
And the call didn't drop.
Thank God. Okay. Well,
Did it.
we did it. And thank you very much for watching this episode of Roundtable Live. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the VOD over on our YouTube channels, Mathis Games, Rockley Smile, or Bear Taffy. You can also catch the show over on iTunes and SoundCloud. You can subscribe on iTunes, also rate the show 5 stars over there. We appreciate that as well. You can follow us on Twitter at RoundtablePC. You can catch the show discussion over on the subreddit. That's RoundtablePodcast.reddit.com. And follow us live here on Twitch every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific. You can hit that follow button and be notified when we go live. We also want to thank our patrons over on patreon.com/roundtable who have been supporting the show. We want to especially thank those at the $20 level or above, which include Julian Avelsgaard, Scrody119, Polecat, Greenlight, Mavier, Oren Saltzman, Christopher Flagg, General Crunk, Jonathan Graham, Matt, Alexander Spillman, Myth Scarab, Brizzlebrit, Mediocrities, Eric Schooley, Smurfette, Supermana Man, Justin Positron, and Logan Ray. Thank you guys very much for your continued support over there on the Patreon page. We really appreciate that. And thank you very much for watching the show today here as well. And we will see you next week is E3 week. So there will actually be E3 rebroadcasts here on this channel. Those two will be at E3. But I will be here with maybe Nick, maybe whoever else wants to join me. We'll be rebroadcasting the E3 shows here on the stream.
Rob.
Yeah,
And
probably
Rob
we'll get
and
those
Austin,
guys
I
over
think
there.
all of us want to do that.
All right, right
Also,
on.
send us questions for
Yes,
Roundtable.
yes, please do. RoundtableYT@gmail.com. And thank you very much for watching. And we'll see you next time.
Peace out.
Come on, man. A little bit more than Fine. Fine, that's what we get. All right. Goodbye.
I don't know what to do with my hands.